Starting off at number 10, we have Christian Bale. Christian Bale is not an easy person to work with, so obviously he would be an absolute pain in the to work for. And after a leaked voice recording showed Bale screaming at his cast on a film, people finally understood how bonkers that he actually is. And his assistant Harrison Chung had such a bad experience working for him that he ended up writing a book about it. The assistant said that Bale would lecture fangirls about bothering him to the point where they started sobbing. And then another time when he received a fan letter, he told Chung the fan should be eliminated with a screwdriver thrust through the eyeball into the brain, which prevents any screaming. That was a quote, by the way, that's literally what he said. And apparently he didn't seem like he was joking either. And his stint working for the actor was so bad, he underwent 5 years of therapy for PTSD to get past the trauma that he put him through. And after hearing this, it makes a lot more sense that he regularly plays like, dark and twisted people. Might not be acting all that much. In at number 9, Kim Kardashian. After Kim fired her longtime assistant Stephanie Shepard, Stephanie spilled the tea on what we all want to know about working for Kim. At the time, she wrote on Instagram, "Letting go of a bad friend and self-care involves forgiving yourself for your impossible standards and knowing you are worth it." So yikes, clearly she is, talking about a certain somebody. One thing that Stephanie revealed is that Kim apparently takes 1,000 selfies a day. But also, who really is shocked? She also said she is so vain that she has a staff remove plants or objects if they're in the way of a mirror. While on holiday at Punta Mita in Mexico, Kim took 6,000 selfies on her 4-day trip. Kim is also apparently a slob. She would leave clothes everywhere and Stephanie would have to clean them up. Stephanie also said there would be old food in the refrigerator, the trash would be overflowing in the kitchen, and the bathrooms, no one would go in there. On the one hand, that's pretty gross, but Kim is a busy woman, so I can see why she would be kind of messy. That's definitely not the worst thing that she's done. In at number 8, Anna Wintour. After the movie The Devil Wears Prada, Anna Wintour is probably the first person that comes to mind when talking about people who treat their assistants terribly. And Wintour was exposed by her old assistant at Vogue, Lauren Weisberger. And her time there was so bad, she made a tell-all book about it, which was then turned into the movie that we all know and love, The Devil Wears Prada. The book and the movie portrayed the editor-in-chief as pretty much being the worst kind of boss, emotionally abusive, judgmental, and demanding. Anna actually wasn't too upset about the book or the movie, with her even saying in one interview that she's okay with anything that makes the fashion industry more entertaining and glamorous. Basically meaning that she was behind the film. And even though the movie portrays her as having ridiculous demands, it also portrays her as a successful and powerful woman who knows how to get what she wants. And I'm sure Anna Wintour didn't have any problems with that depiction of her. In at number 7, Jessica Simpson. Jessica is another celebrity that's a total nightmare to work for. And over the years, she's gone through tons of personal assistants, which is never a good sign. And most of the assistants hated working for her. So after they quit, they spilled the tea on how terrible she is. One source told the Star that Jessica Simpson would dine and dash, as in she wouldn't pay the bill when she went to a restaurant. With one assistant adding that Jessica thought her stardom was payment enough. And even nastier, apparently Jessica wears a lot of hair extensions, but when she's done using them, she literally just drops them all over the place, with the assistant saying it literally looks like an animal is on the floor. And that one's pretty gross. Does she reuse those? Hopefully not. And at number 6, Courtney Love. Courtney Love is no stranger to controversy, which is clear from the scandal she has gotten into surrounding her late boyfriend, Kurt Cobain. And when it comes to assistants, she is just as bad. One of her old assistants actually sued her in 2012 for not paying her. And the payment that she was supposed to make was really weird, with her getting paid $30 an hour and a full scholarship to Yale. Apparently she was also not only an assistant, but also a forensic research aide, with her even having the opportunity to work on the Nirvana biopic. But the assistant claims that not only did Courtney not pay her, she also made her work overtime, didn't pay her or the scholarship, and even asked her to do illegal tasks like hiring a computer hacker and posing as a lawyer. Another bombshell was when the assistant said that Courtney Love acted with an improper and evil motive amounting to malice or despicable conduct. Not too sure what that's referring to, but it doesn't sound good. Halfway at number 5, Angelina Jolie. Honestly, having Angelina Jolie on this list is not a shocker because she seems like someone who would have some pretty strange demands. One assistant of Angelina's named Anna worked at their country estate in the south of France between 2008 and 2010. And apparently she saw Angelina and Brad fight all the time, and they would spend weeks living apart from each other. She also even said that she thought that Angelina was an alcoholic, with the assistant even claiming that when Angelina got too drunk, she would lock her 6 kids into one room. Anna even sued Angelina and Brad for $88,000 for wrongful termination after she took time off for an illness. Not great, Angelina and Brad. And at number 4, Lady Gaga. A few former assistants have spoken out against their terrible time working for Lady Gaga, with one of her assistants, Jennifer O'Neill, claiming that she was an actual monster. And apparently Gaga owed her roughly $400,000 in unpaid overtime during the 13 months that she worked for her. Apparently Jennifer would do literally everything for Gaga and was on call 24 hours a day. The lawsuit states that her duties included ordering Gaga's meals, making sure her outfits were on hand, the promptness of a towel following a shower, and serving as a personal alarm clock. The assistant Gaga had before that also had a terrible experience, with the assistant claiming that Gaga slept and took showers with her because she didn't like being alone. Honestly, that's what would be the nightmare for me. Like, not the long hours, but the fact that I have to sleep and shower with my boss. Like, I just need my personal space. Too much for that. And at number 3, Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins' personal assistant had a darker experience with him, and based on his public persona, it's something people would never expect. Kimberly Stokes, a former assistant, worked as Tony Robbins' live-in personal assistant and even shared her thoughts in a BuzzFeed article about him. She recalls one time where he walked into her bathroom while she was showering and dropped his towel, exposing himself. This wasn't the only time Robbins made a pass at her either. To make matters worse, Stokes was a survivor of as a child, and Robbins knew that. Another former assistant named Kate said she considered seeing Robbins naked as a part of her job, but also saw his teachings as life transforming. And the fact that multiple people have made accusations against him proves that this is really just like a bigger issue for him altogether. And at number 2, J-Lo. This one is not a shock at all to me, because I have covered tons of times how J-Lo is one of the meanest people ever. Her demands are also the most degrading, with her insisting that her employees don't talk to her or even look at her. One of the job descriptions for her assistant was actually obtained, and it read, must have thick skin, be graceful under pressure, resourceful in foreign countries. They must be on call 24/7, be able to change diapers, work on little sleep, and cook if the butler is away. And if you're J-Lo's personal assistant, you have to know when it's J-Lo's snack time. Even though she won't actually say when she's hungry, like, you just are always expected to have food waiting and know when she wants to eat. And finally, number 1, Mariah Carey. Is anyone surprised that the biggest diva in the entire music industry is on this list? Because I am certainly not. The assistant named Liana was Mariah's assistant for 2 years, until she was wrongfully fired in 2017, which led her to sue Mariah. According to a lawsuit that she filed and a 32-page complaint, she was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for both Mariah and her former manager. It seems that Mariah's former manager, Stella Stoppler, was a huge part of the problem, and she subjected the assistant to tons of like using racial slurs when talking about her. But there were also completely disgusting things that happened there too. And allegedly Mariah's manager tackled her to the ground and then urinated on her. Liana's lawsuit alleges that Mariah knew about the abuse and was even present for a lot of it, but still allowed it to go on. After she complained, she was fired 1 month later. And this is just so insane and nasty, but also I really don't know why that assistant would want to stay working for someone that would do that to her, right? Like, instead of suing her for wrongful termination, she should probably sue her for like workplace harassment or something instead. Starting off at number 10, we have Lena Dunham. So obviously Lena Dunham was incredibly busy on the set of her show Girls, as she was the creator, writer, director, producer, and she's the star of the show. And I can understand that when you're frazzled like that, you might not be able to schedule breaks to eat. But as a solution to that problem, Lena Dunham makes her assistants feed her. Like, she'll be on set with way too much in her hands, so while she's like reading a script or something, her assistant will be holding the food that Dunham is eating. In one photo of this taking place, Lena is getting fed a quesadilla by her assistant. And for me, that is just so gross on so many levels. And handheld food is definitely a no-go from me, especially with Corona now. Like, the thought of literally eating food that someone was just touching is absolutely revolting. And at number 9, Paris Hilton. Of course, Paris Hilton just had to be on this list. And even though she befriended one of her old assistants, Kim Kardashian, it didn't stop her from low-key bossing Kim around and even talking smack about her in her confessionals on her reality TV show. But one thing that Kim exposed about Paris is that for some really high-end purses, the ladies would walk around with them totally empty so that they wouldn't ruin the bag at all. But of course, someone has to hold her stuff, and that person would be none other than her assistant. And of course, there are some rare photos showing all the stuff that the assistants are carrying around, while Paris usually has like a purse and a small dog to hold. And at number 8, Mike Myers. Mike Myers is someone who I've talked about before, and apparently his funny personality is not at all what he's like in real life, and he's incredibly rude to practically everyone. So obviously that attitude would translate over to how he treats his assistants, and he not only treats his own assistant badly, but he also is a complete pain in the ass to the PAs on the late night shows that he is on. One incident was when he was on Conan O'Brien's show, and he was seen bossing around the staff of that show, yelling at them to get him seltzer, Twizzlers, and creamer, which is firstly just super entitled, but secondly, who even asked for like that combination of items? Like, who needs a seltzer and a creamer at the same time? And also the fact that he's bothering PAs who are incredibly busy even without Mike Myers harassing them makes the whole thing just even worse. And at number 7, Amber Heard. I didn't have Amber Heard in my last one, and a ton of you guys wanted to hear about her, so here it is. With the way that she treated her ex-husband Johnny Depp and her other past partners, it's a guarantee that she would be a nightmare to an assistant. And she is. Amber's former assistant Kate James exposed her in a legal deposition that was part of Johnny Depp's defamation lawsuit against her. According to the assistant, Amber would routinely, verbally, and mentally abuse her, usually while Amber was intoxicated with substances like MDMA, mushrooms, and wine, with Kate even saying that she would wake up on edge the morning after Amber's binges because it was common for her to get terrifying texts from Amber in the middle of the night while she was wasted, with Kate going on to say that her time working for Amber is a nightmare that she hopes she's one day able to recover from. And at number 6, Mel B. Apparently the former Spice Girl is a lot spicier than we ever would have thought, and her former assistant completely exposed her for being a shady person. Mel's former assistant was actually a former friend, which makes his treatment even more shocking. The former assistant, Gary Meditayan, filed a lawsuit against Mel after she apparently didn't pay him $200,000 while he worked as her hairstylist and personal assistant. And wow, that is a lot of money. Meditayan was also very close with Mel, but it was at the expense of his own personal life. And because he did literally everything for her, he had basically no life at all. And allegedly he couldn't see his friends or family. He also exposed some pretty dark stuff too, like how Mel at one point was drinking ridiculous amounts, and it caused her to be violent with her own kids. Gary said that at her lowest point, Mel would drink 3 bottles of wine a day and multiple tequila shots, which would make her delusional and paranoid. Halfway number 5, Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera definitely is not even close to the worst on this list, but her request might be the most uncomfortable. Apparently when Christina was married to her ex, Jordan Bratman, they were pretty adventurous in the bedroom, and they would role play a lot, with both of them dressing up in costumes. And I truly could not care less what you want to do with your spouse in your own bed. That is nobody's business. But it was the business of her assistant, who apparently was tasked with picking up all of the clothes and costumes off the floor. And I would definitely be using gloves or like a tong if I was forced to pick that up. Yikes, probably both. And at number 4, Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian had me really fooled. This whole time I thought she was the perfect housewife, with her house on keeping up always being perfectly clean, and with her pantry being essentially a work of art. But apparently that's all a lie, even the coveted Oreo jar. And her assistant is really the person that makes that all possible. One of her assistants told Radar Online that Khloe didn't lift a finger, and one of the main jobs of her assistant is making sure that the house is spotless at all times, so it looks perfect on camera, even down to having the perfect number of cookies in her cookie jar. And even though this really isn't that insane of a request, I'm mostly just shocked because I really thought Khloe did it all herself. But Khloe definitely did have her diva moments, and allegedly if the food wasn't displayed the way that she wanted, Khloe would dump it upside down and make them do it all over again. And if that's true, that's next level. And at number 3, Ryan Gosling. Based on the characters that he plays, it would be easy to assume that Ryan Gosling is the perfect guy. He's always playing the charming and handsome guy next door that sweeps you off your feet. But when he isn't acting, he's apparently super strange. And although there's no horror stories of his assistants getting treated horribly, there are some stories that will just make you think twice about what he does behind closed doors. One random fact is that he likes getting waxed. Like, he likes the feeling of getting waxed. And as a person who has waxed my eyebrows for my whole life, I can tell you that it hurts. So that is definitely very crazy. Also, one of Ryan Gosling's housekeepers famously claimed that he walks up the stairs on all fours. Okay. And he also sleeps upside down in bed, allegedly, with his head actually at like the foot of the bed. So clearly, he might have some skeletons in his closet, because that's some weird stuff. Like, there's gotta be more. In at number 2, Selena Gomez. Selena is again another celebrity that really isn't that bad, but a former assistant exposed her for being quite the slob, which is a little hard for me to believe, honestly, because she always seems like so prim and proper, but I guess that is the Disney machine in action. But according to her assistant, she leaves her dishes lying around, and in the assistant's words, she, quote, has a lack of respect for other places and can completely trash a hotel room in less than 24 hours. And the worst part for me is that she apparently leaves makeup stains all over her bed and sheets because she doesn't wash her makeup off. And like, how can you be a celebrity and not wash your face? Like, if the whole world is looking at you, that's even more of a reason to make sure you have a really good skincare routine, come on. Hopefully she's learned from then. She'll also leave food wrappers all over the place, she doesn't clean up spills, and she also leaves her undies lying around for her assistant to pick up. So she's either very, very busy or very messy. Maybe a bit of both. And in at number 1, Naomi Campbell. So I didn't know this before doing this video, but apparently Naomi Campbell is a nightmare on set. And there are tons of documented cases of her just being terrible. And that attitude also translated to her assistants, which she treated horribly. And the most famous incident of this terrible treatment was when she threw her phone at one of her assistants, Amanda Brack. And yikes, that is like on another level. Amanda spoke more about everything when she made an appearance on the Tyra Banks show, saying that Naomi attacked her at least 3 times, spat in her face, and even cut up her passport and threw it in a swimming pool. And like, why a person would ever do that is truly beyond me. Like, what? She also spilled the tea on the phone incident, saying that while Naomi was stressed about flights and luggage, she slammed the phone into her face. And Naomi's hairdresser intervened and basically saved Amanda. Starting off at number 10, we have Lance Armstrong. Lance was exposed by his assistant right around the time that he was being exposed for doping, right after he was stripped of 7 Tour de France titles. His assistant decided it was a good time to come clean about everything. And the assistant, Mike Anderson, told Outside Magazine that Lance came back from Europe with cash stuffed into his pants, with the cash being from sleazy races that he did under the table. Also, Lance would apparently do everything possible to not be tested by the World Anti-Doping Agency, and that's why he got away with it for so many years. And apparently while he was at Livestrong events, which were events to support other cancer survivors, he would allegedly talk badly about the event and say things like, quote, I hate these effing things. Ooh. Lastly, the assistant said he also left his wife in a very, quote, abrupt and cruel fashion, which doesn't say very good things about a person. In at number 9, Whitney Houston. The late singer's assistant, Robin Crawford, exposed Whitney's private life when she told the truth about her and Whitney's relationship. This was all done in the assistant's tell-all book when Crawford exposed that her and Whitney had a romantic relationship. According to the assistant, Whitney was a lesbian and everyone knew it. But again, this is just what the assistant said, not what we're saying is true. Whitney's mother, Chrissy Houston, was against their relationship, saying it was unnatural for 2 women to be that close. Even Whitney's husband at the time, Bobby Brown, did not like Robin Crawford, maybe because he felt that something more was going on. Crawford also said she was the first person to tell Whitney's mom about her drug use that ended up taking Whitney's life. In at number 8, David Hasselhoff. David Hasselhoff was well known back in the day as a classic heartthrob, known for his roles on The Young and the Restless and Baywatch. And he was even so popular that, fun fact, he actually used to hold the record for the most watched man on television, which is crazy. I didn't even know that was a thing. But it seems that his days of being a ladies' man are not over, and I don't blame him at all for that. You know, do your thing, Hasselhoff. But the issue here for the assistant is that one of his old assistants exposed that he actually makes the assistant go up to the women he's pursuing and ask them out for Hasselhoff. This is in the form of the assistant giving the women one of Hasselhoff's business cards, and I don't know if that like would impress me. Like someone asking me out on behalf of someone. That could really go like 2 ways. I don't think I'd like it very much. I'd be like, when you ask me out yourself, Hasselhoff? I don't know. And at number 7, Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande is known for many things, and one of them is the fact that she's been called a diva by fellow celebrities. One of her diva-esque traits is that she likes to be carried around after a long day of walking. And since she's so small, it's probably not a very difficult task for the right assistant, but it's definitely a strange one. And this rumor got so big that Ariana had to address it, and she ended up confirming it to be true. This was in the form of an Instagram post, where the caption was, quote, Jones carrying me off stage, post show ritual when my feet are broken. She also joked about it some more with James Corden in a bit they did where James carried her to a Starbucks while she was ordering her drink. Of course, it was a grande drink. And at number 6, Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart is a very busy and meticulous woman, so obviously she's quite a handful for any assistant, but she knows it and doesn't really care, with Martha admitting in a blog post that she keeps her assistant incredibly busy, with organizing in particular. One task that her assistant had was organizing all of Martha's cosmetics into labeled clear plastic tubs in her basement dressing room. Martha explained it in detail in the blog post, explaining the assistant removes items from the bins and recategorizes every item, reevaluating what is still usable and throwing out expired items. And obviously that entire system seems like a total pain in the ass, especially if Martha makes her do that for all the rooms in the house. But also if you're an assistant for Martha, I mean, you better expect a lot of housework. Like, that is one person, I would not be Martha Stewart's assistant because whatever I do would not be good enough. I swear, she can't even have it. I feel like she would have to be her own assistant. She's so, like, you know, meticulous about everything. Halfway number 5, Garth Brooks. Country singer Garth Brooks' former assistant, Lisa Sanderson, who worked for him for 20 years, not only exposed the star, but also sued him for close to $500,000. Saying in the suit that he was, quote, paranoid, angry, deceitful, and a vindictive man who will turn against those closest to him on a dime. Yikes, so clearly she's not very fond of him. Apparently the assistant also claimed that she tried to get him a career in TV and movies, but his demands were so insane that it never actually happened. With one example citing how he would refuse to work with anyone because he didn't want to share the limelight with other stars. Even saying that he refused a role in the massive movie Twister because he didn't want to be outshined by the tornado. Brooks' lawyers of course denied these claims, but with accusations as insane as that, I don't know how that could be made up. Like, how can someone make up that he was afraid of being outshined by a tornado? That's gotta be true, right? And at number 4, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro actually might be one of the worst cases of treating an assistant terribly, as there's proof of it happening. The actor was actually sued for $12 million for gender discrimination by his former assistant, Graham Chase Robinson. The assistant claims that De Niro made abusive and sexist comments to her, and even would initiate unwanted physical contact. And this treatment was not just allegations, there was actual proof of it on a recorded phone call. In one call, De Niro berated her for not answering, and the audio is shocking. The lawsuit also claimed that one of the reasons she was paid so little was because she was a woman, with De Niro telling her that she could get pregnant using sperm from a married male coworker. She also claimed that he would meet her only by wearing bathrobe or pajamas, and then asked her to scratch his back. So much wrong with all of that. And at number 3, David Beckham. This one is a case of an assistant exposing their employer cheating. But in this one, Beckham was allegedly cheating with the assistant. Back in 2004, the assistant, Rebecca Luz, said in an interview that she had an affair with David Beckham. Allegedly, the affair began with flirting and texting and gradually developed into a bond. But after a while, the relationship was purely physical, which made her feel dirty and cheap. Beckham vehemently denied the claims, and clearly Victoria Beckham didn't believe the claims, or they were able to work it through, as the couple is still together and happily married. And at number 2, Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock's personal life is pretty private, so it's hard to know what kind of boss that she would be. But based on accounts from her past assistants, she can be a bit of a nightmare. One strange request is that her assistant must always make sure the curtains in her home are kept closed at all times. Sandra's also known to have a pretty bad temper when things don't go her way, and unfortunately she takes that out on the assistant. According to one witness, while they were standing in line for a coffee, she berated her assistant for being 5 minutes late. And obviously, you know, there's two sides to every story, but based on that, you know, brief description, seems like a bit of an overreaction, if I do say so myself. And at number 1, Taryn Manning. Taryn Manning is another person who was absolutely awful to her assistant, and it was so bad it had to be handled in court. The former assistant, Hillian Hartman, reported that the actor was physical with her multiple times, and Manning was later ordered to stay away from the assistant after the two had a vicious brawl at the Dream Hotel in New York that left her assistant covered in bruises. According to a lawsuit that was filed, Manning choked and punched her personal assistant and whipped her with a wet towel. She also sprayed Windex in her eyes and mouth. And of course, after doing something like that, you're gonna feel the wrath of the law, as you should. And Manning was charged with misdemeanor assault and choking. Yeah, very, very rightfully so. That is, like, what? I don't even know how a person could do that to another person. Like, just, I don't understand celebrities.
Number 10, Thomas Gibson. Thomas made a name for himself starring as one of the leads of the series Criminal Minds. He was on the show for a few years, and in that time he made a few problems for those unfortunate enough to be staff members of the series. There were some issues over the years that would have warranted some actions, like screaming at producers and writers for not doing a good job, but the incident that got him kicked off the show for good involved, well, a kick. In 2016, Thomas was swiftly fired from the series after an incident with a writer named Virgil Williams. An internal investigation revealed that Thomas kicked Virgil one day during production of an episode that Gibson was directing. As I said, this was not the first incident on set that really should have resulted in some kind of a punishment though. In 2013, he pleaded no contest to No Juice related reckless driving after being arrested on suspicion of a DUI, and 3 years before that, he allegedly shoved an assistant director named Ian Wolfe during a late-night location scene. That led to the studio ordering Gibson to take 8 hours of anger management. According to most people on set, Thomas was a wild card. Some days he'd be friendly and accommodating, and then the next day he was ballistic. Number 9, Joaquin Phoenix. We understand a dedication to one's craft, and Joaquin is just a prime example. Joaquin's acting career has been going steady since he first appeared in the 1989 comedy Parenthood when he was in his mid-teens. While he's seen as one of the greatest actors in recent history, his reputation on set was tarnished thanks to a little freak out while filming the 2018 solo flick Joker. He appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live to promote the film when Jimmy played a behind-the-scenes clip of Joaquin getting loud and angry at a man named Larry, and the constant whispering behind the cameras before dropping an F-bomb and storming off the set. When the cameras came back to the studio, Joaquin was just frozen in shock. He was clearly not expecting that clip to ever see the light of day. He explained that Larry was a cinematographer who was teasing Joaquin off set earlier in the day, calling him a diva and referring to him as Cher. In fact, during his on-set outburst, you can hear him say, "Calling me Cher, how is that an insult?" He then explained that there's a lot of pressure on set, especially in a closed space like the apartment from the scene, and he apologized to the audience for having to see him behave in such a manner, which was met with applause. At the end of the day, he's a performer, and no harm came from this outburst, so if Larry's cool with it, we're cool with it. Number 8, Bill Murray Lake Toss. Bill Murray's gonna be on this list more than once, and for good reasons. For this entry, we're talking about the film What About Bob and its extremely toxic set while filming. Bill Murray was really getting on his co-star's nerves, Richard Dreyfuss from Jaws, literally berating and bullying this man between takes to get the best performance out of him. In the years since, he claimed that Richard encouraged him to do this, but Richard claims that that never happened and is a complete lie. Considering the incident that this entry is actually about though, he got off pretty easy. On the same set, Bill got into an altercation with producer Laura Ziskin, a woman who is so respected that she has an achievement award named after her. This woman was subject to Bill's diva behavior, and one day during a disagreement, Bill Murray picked her up and just tossed her into a lake. When describing the event, she claims that it was playful, but according to everyone else on the set, it was just the wrong word to use. Number 7, Jenna Ortega. Jenna participated in one of the most popular streaming shows of this year on Netflix, playing Wednesday Addams in Wednesday. The series really helped launch Jenna's already growing career, and of course the series was picked up for a second season. However, it seems that Jenna may end up writing that entire season herself, because the writers of season 1 just didn't do a great job according to her. A while back, and before the writer's strike, Jenna made comments about having to put her foot down on the set of Wednesday. According to her, the writing was just odd, and honestly, Jenna made so many good points. She felt that the things that Wednesday was doing made no sense. She was involved in a love triangle that was just weird and honestly distracted from all the good parts of the show, and some of the lines that she was supposed to say were cut after she expressed concerns. There was a line of dialogue that saw Wednesday say the words, "Oh my god, I love it. Ugh, I can't believe I just said that." To which Jenna said, "No, Wednesday is not some valley girl with an emo side. She chops the heads off siblings if they let her." She claims that a ton of writers will agree that she is difficult and unprofessional at times because that was the only way to make her character work. She'd literally changed the dialogue during a take, and then the writers were just constantly confused. Ortega has claimed to be very protective of her character and has every intention to make season 2 better in every way, dropping any love stories surrounding Wednesday and instead opting to dive in deep on the dark and macabre that Tim Burton is really known for. The writers released sarcastic statements claiming that Jenna should really just write the next season herself since she's so good at it. Okay, let her do it, it's probably gonna be great. Number 6. Justin Bieber. In 2015, Justin was performing on the Today Show, debuting his new song, What Do You Mean? During his performance, he got super excited and started dancing while singing, one normally would, but moments later he was caught on air dissing the camera operator, saying that he might as well not dance since the cameras don't even move. He said next time he won't dance, it seems like a waste of effort. He was visibly annoyed as he ended his time on the show. Fans of Justin were very quick to question his aggression in the moment. Before he was cut off by a commercial break, Justin starts to rant about what he even does this for, and if they're just gonna, and then he was cut off. Not long after this on-air mishap, Justin actually announced that he was going to take a little break from music. The two seemed to be unrelated, but hey man, you never know. Maybe he had some real regrets when it comes to scolding a camera person that did nothing to you before that. But come on, out of all the mistreatment scandals surrounding Justin Bieber, this one's the silliest. When Justin appeared on the set of CSI, he actually upset an entire crew with his behavior. According to several eyewitness accounts, Justin locked a producer in a closet out of frustration and put his fist through a cake that was on the craft service table. Justin dismissed these claims as baseless rumors, but like a lot of people saw him doing that, so I don't know, you be the judge. Number 5, Barbara Cochran. Shark Tank, what a wonderful program. Seeing some up-and-coming entrepreneurs get their start thanks to the endorsement and partnership of the Sharks. One of the Sharks, Barbara Cochran, was blasted online after a resurfaced clip showed her saying how much she loved to fire people. Firing someone is a difficult conversation, doesn't usually end well for both people involved. However, for Barbara, it's her favorite thing in the entire world. These comments resurfaced as there is a labor shortage across the US, so that didn't help. In an interview on the Diary of a CEO podcast, she revealed that she loves firing people, especially on Fridays. What she loves to do is pop by someone's desk on Wednesday, book an appointment for Friday. Instead of giving them a proper reason for firing, though, she'll actually just tell them that, she's not really sure why. They just don't really fit with the company. I don't know what makes this woman think it is a fun thing to be fired, but nonetheless, people are fuming. Many fans simply wonder if she owns a Dalmatian coat. More than likely. Number 4, Christina Aguilera. There have been a few instances of Christina being a menace to her staff or just people that she's worked with in the past. Today we're going to focus on her time as a judge on The Voice. According to several sources close to the show, she was a nightmare to work with. Apparently she always shows up late and just doesn't seem to care or apologize for holding up filming of the show. To make things worse, she is constantly arguing with Adam Levine. As early as 2012, insiders told production on The Voice that they much preferred Adam Levine to Christina. Apparently the makeup crew of the show acts as a NASCAR pit team. Every time herself and Adam get heated, whether it's on or off camera, she's directed to the makeup team to cool off. They then apply product to her face like she's Ricky Bobby in the middle of a race. According to producers, she made outrageous demands, including the introduction of a foot massager to the staff. Someone's only job on set was to massage Christina's feet every 30 minutes. No thank you. Number 3, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. Now, it may come as a shock to you that 2 of the 4 members of the legendary Ghostbusters just kinda despised each other, but it turns out that this is very much the case. While filming Bill's more popular film Groundhog Day, it turns out that the star was in a rough place. According to the crew, he tormented Harold, the director of the project, constantly, showing up late, being consistently unavailable, and just being overall really mean. Apparently the main cause for concern was just Bill's overall feelings about the movie. He took issue with the way it was filmed, some of the dialogue he had to say, and just seemed to disagree with Harold about everything. Despite their collaborations before this on movies like Ghostbusters and Caddyshack, they just did not see eye to eye on anything. Bill wanted this movie to be more serious and philosophical, but Harold had to constantly remind him it was a comedy. At the end of the day, the constant arguments made a terrible time on set. Number 2, Katherine Heigl. Kathy was riding high back in 2007. The former Grey's Anatomy star not only won an Emmy for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, but she also began transitioning to the big screen with the success of her first feature film, Knocked Up, alongside comedy legend Seth Rogen. Now, unfortunately, her rise to the top quickly became a free fall into an active volcano, following an ill-fated Vanity Fair interview the following January. In the interview, Katherine made a move that still has people scratching their heads to this day. She openly bashed the film that made her famous, claiming that it painted women as shrew, humorless, and uptight, while also placing blame on Seth Rogen for writing the men as lovable, goofy, and fun. The film still sits at an impressive 89% on Rotten Tomatoes because, now while she might claim the project was problematic, the final product is just a fun love story filled with good jokes and performances and a good story. Seth felt betrayed by the comments as they never had a fight on set and it never seemed like she was uncomfortable at any point. These comments, combined with some negativity towards her Grey's Anatomy writers, caused her agents to drop her as a client, and her time in Hollywood quickly came to a screeching halt. And at number 1, Bill Murray and Lucy Liu. Sony's first foray into the world of Charlie's Angels was massively successful thanks to its stars, Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and of course Lucy Liu as the titular angels. This movie was filled with action, comedy, and one of the weirdest performances ever given by Crispin Glover. That dude needs help. One interesting addition to the cast, though, was the inclusion of Bill Murray as the main man behind the mic, Bosley. Now apparently the set was anything but a comedy though after Bill found out a scene was rewritten while he was away. In an interview with the news outlet Deadline, Lucy Liu spoke up about her time on set and Bill Murray's outburst. Apparently Bill was away for a family event when a scene needed to be refilmed, and instead of using a stand-in, they just decided that it could go on without Murray's character being involved. So the scene was filmed and that was that. When he returned to find that the changes were made while he was gone, he was furious. He reportedly shouted at half of the crew, including Lucy herself. At the time, she wasn't sure why he was aiming his comments at her. She didn't write the scene, she wasn't the director, and she asked Bill if he was talking to her, and apparently that sent him into a meltdown. She decided to speak out on Bill's behavior, and he was ultimately written out of the sequel. Lucy's pretty proud for speaking her mind despite being a relatively unknown actor at the time, and so far it looks like Bill's career has suffered from it, because Lucy was just the first of many celebrities to comment on his behavior, but we could do a whole top 10 list about Bill Murray. Number 10, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro was brought to court thanks to an ex-assistant, and he lost. Robert's production company was found liable this past week for gender discrimination and retaliation, and were ordered to pay $1.3 million to Graham Chase Robinson. While Robert himself was not found guilty, his company was. Graham accused De Niro of workplace mistreatment during her time as his assistant and financial advisor. Between 2008 and 2019, her life was a living nightmare. Robert had apparently been subjecting her to inappropriate behavior on a lot of levels. The allegations range from Robert swearing and hurling insults to asking Robinson to scratch his back. Literally. He admitted to almost all of the accusations but gave excuses for each one. For instance, it was only 2 back scratches, okay? No big deal. Robinson claimed that she quit during a full-on mental breakdown after being overwhelmed by the work and Robert's role as her boss. She's not worked in over 4 years despite applying for a reported 643 jobs. In that time, she estimated losing around $12 million, both monetarily and mentally. The jury calculated the exact amount that she would have earned had Robert not bullied her into submission, which was not $12 million, but like I said, somewhere closer to 1.3. That is still a lot of money. As I said, Robert De Niro was not personally responsible, so the payout came from his production company, but he has maintained that his assistant exaggerated their claims for profit. Number 9. Madonna. Madonna's voice is known around the world, but so much so in fact that she can be a bit mean from time to time. Not only have there been eyewitness accounts of her being rude to fans, but she is also a bit stingy when it comes to her staff. A few years back, an anonymous source revealed that when one of Madonna's dancers broke her arm during practice, instead of being more concerned and helping, she had a full-on meltdown, berating the dancer for being so bad at their job. There was also allegations that she said there will be no fat country singers in her presence, only she didn't say re-singers. Another source backed these stories up and added that Madonna does not pay very well, but she knows that she can pay people to work grueling hours for low income because, hey, she's Madonna. There are probably some people out there who would work for a turkey sandwich just to be someone's assistant. White bread with lettuce, please. The source agreed that if there is one common theme with Madonna and her staff, it's that her ego overshadows them, and they're supposed to feel lucky to be in her presence. Neither source specified when they quit, but considering the stories, it sounded like they were with Madonna for quite some time. Number 8. Lizzo. It was recently revealed that a lawsuit was filed against the famous pop singer Lizzo, accusing her of creating a toxic work environment and mistreating her background dancers. The accusations range from fat shaming her crew to forcing them to eat strange fruit from strange places. Yum yum. One of the dancers, Crystal Davies, who is part of the lawsuit, was fired for secretly recording a meeting between herself and Lizzo. The meeting was about the dancer's performance on stage recently, and Lizzo apparently disliking the weight that she had been gaining, claiming that she wasn't committing to her role. According to the plaintiffs, Lizzo made them work ridiculous hours, including up to 12-hour rehearsal days. One of the dancers recounted an experience of having to use the washroom and being forced to do it in her pants while rehearsing so that she didn't lose any time. Like, hey, Lizzo, if someone has to use the bathroom, just let them go. It took longer for them to get that poor woman a new pair of pants than it would have to just let her take 5 minutes. When the news broke, the world collectively turned on Lizzo and so far have believed every single word that has been said. Now, while Lizzo continues to deny the allegations, her career has gotten worse and worse. A lot of her live stage shows have been canceled, her music's been pulled from radio stations, and there is still currently an investigation taking place. So it's not good. It's not good for Lizzie. Number 7, Rihanna. A lot of one-name artists on this list. Is it really a shock to learn that Rihanna does not talk to the hired help? Well, ignoring somebody is one of the meanest things that you can do to a person, making them feel like they don't exist or are not even on the same level as you, and they don't deserve to even be acknowledged. Like, that just hurts. Most celebrities know how not to do that, but others seem to only have this negative setting in their soul. Over the years, it's been said that pop singing sensation Rihanna doesn't even look or speak to her staff. An anonymous source revealed that Rihanna literally refers to staff as the hired help. She also falls asleep when she's getting her makeup done, which must be great for everyone involved with that. Just Rihanna snoring in a chair. She's just warming up her vocal cords. It's fine. It's fine. Rihanna is also known for being pretty rude to her fans as well. One lady won backstage passes for herself and her family, but when they got back to do their meet and greet portion of the tickets, Rihanna didn't even look at them and asked one of her assistants to come sign something for them, sitting in her makeup chair like a Disney villain shooing people away. Number 6, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is known for a lot of things. A Star is Born, her music career, but for ex-assistant Jennifer O'Neill, Lady Gaga is simply known as evil. O'Neill filed a lawsuit against her former boss in 2013 for $400,000, the money that she claimed that she was owed from her time working as Gaga's assistant. Clapping back against the claims, Gaga got heated. Try saying that 10 times fast. She counterclaimed that she was forced to do most of the assistant's work herself, complaining that she was forced to carry large bags to her room all by herself, like a normal person. Ugh. O'Neill worked with Gaga for 13 months on a $75,000 salary and accompanied her on her Monster Ball World Tour. In trying to justify her actions as a boss, she admitted to partying late at night, sleeping in all day, and literally screaming in the streets. During the court hearing for the case, she also launched into an F-word fueled tirade, swearing over and over at Jennifer. Gaga was basically blasting this woman with allegations and just claiming that everything she was saying was false. Gaga claimed that Jennifer was always made to be an equal on tour, where Jennifer claims to have been overwhelmed with work. Instead of paying O'Neill the damages, Gaga claimed that she was going to spread the wealth to the people that currently worked for her, aka the ones who really deserve it. Eventually, they were able to settle the situation outside of court, but that exact dollar exchange is not known. Number 5, Christian Bale. Rumors that the former Batman actor is mean to his co-stars and his crew have run rampant for years, ever since his infamous voice recording captured on the set of Terminator Judgment Day. For those of you who don't know, he shouted at a guy for being in his line of sight during a take. Basically it. However, a former publicist of Christian's named Harrison Chung shared a ton of behind-the-scenes stories, including the fact that Christian was a very mean person, to the point where he literally made little kids cry when they approached him as fans. Instead of appreciating his reach and enjoying his time with fans, he reportedly responds to them with anger and a lecture about personal space. Chung claimed that working for Christian was a nightmare, so much so that he had to take years of therapy. There have been a few stories regarding Christian and his anger over the years, but making kids cry and forcing this guy to go to therapy means there is seriously a problem with Christian Bale. Number 4, Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen had one of the most successful daytime talk shows of all time right up until 2020. Her show became overwhelmed with accusations of toxic work environment from former employees. They were claims that Ellen's happy exterior was nothing more than a facade put in place to keep her audience on her team. A small bit of proof came when she accused 50 Shades of Grey actress Dakota Johnson for not inviting her to a birthday party, and Dakota reminded her that she actually did do that, but she never got a response back. Fans started questioning this awkward moment, and the cracks in Ellen's appearance began to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually, an article was released containing testimonies from several former employees, so much so that she was forced to cancel herself and her show for good. Number 3, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is arguably the most famous of her Kardashian sisters and would also seem to be the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand that she attends law school, co-founded an equity team, and recently even hopped on the podcast train, in addition to filming her new reality show on Hulu. Now you may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all of this by herself? She pays people to do her job, of course. She has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above this overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by their nanny, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table far away from them, but she is known to make her nannies walk at least 10 feet away from them at all times, unless she has multiple people with her, and then she makes them walk behind her like a flying V formation because it looks cool. If they walk near her or attempt to walk side by side, she just kind of blows up and screams at them behind closed doors. Needless to say, she's had many nannies over the years and has probably made them all cry at least once. Number 2, Kourtney Kardashian. Now, while Kim may not be the best boss in the world, Kourtney Kardashian is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it needs to be, she is also known for being super cheap, even once calling a grocery store while she was shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast, because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney Kardashian. But this isn't the worst thing that she's done. At one point, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to act properly, she berated the nanny, telling her that she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Cause yes, blame the women that you're paying to raise your kids instead of the kid itself, who probably has abandonment issues. Number 1, Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan, but she is also extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she was on the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following a partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, which is a beauty salon company. This would allow the brand, previously only available online and in stores that randomly popped up here and there, to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. Unfortunately, the true nature of where these products come from made people kind of step back a bit. Many employees at the factory that mix and package these makeups and beauty products have reported that they were never given proper safety equipment that you would require to do your job. Like, they were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, which meant that their hands were just good and free to get burned, and their faces were as well. Workers would regularly report migraines, chemical burns, all that fun stuff. But if this isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's products. Kylie was so proud of her company not testing things on animals, but I believe testing things on people is just so much worse. Just a little bit evil. She's a super villain. Number 10. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan is known for a lot of things in this world, okay? Her public meltdown, her ability to get estranged parents back together, and of course, her penchant for the partying lifestyle. As you can imagine, it's not easy being someone that works at one of these events, especially considering that they work for a woman that would regularly wake up late in the day and hung over a railing. Only she wasn't on a railing. Unfortunately, many people know that dealing with someone who wakes up late in the day after a long night of no-no juice-induced good times is a difficult person to deal with. Recently, some of Lohan's staff members have confided that she often wakes up at noon at the earliest. Naturally, she's always in a terrible mood and is extremely short with her staff. They claim that Lindsay would regularly take her frustrations out on her staff members simply because they were there and they were easy targets. They said that it should be a law if you deal with someone like Lindsay that an automatic bonus should be thrust into your bank account. Imagine if the lead of Herbie Fully Loaded started yelling at you at 12 in the afternoon. Beep beep, I quit. Number 9. Rihanna. Is it really a shock shocked to learn that Rihanna does not talk to the hired help. Ignoring somebody is one of the meanest things that you can do to a person, making them feel like they do not exist or are not on the same level as you, and they do not deserve to be acknowledged. Most celebrities know not to do this, but others seem to only have a negative setting in their soul. Over the years, it's been said that pop singing sensation Rihanna doesn't even look or speak to her staff. An anonymous source revealed that Rihanna literally refers to the staff as hired help. She also falls asleep when she is getting her makeup done, which must be so great for everybody in the room. Rihanna just snoring in a chair and someone running around being like, it's okay, she's just warming her voice up, guys, it's fine. Rihanna is also known for being pretty rude to her fans as well. One lady won backstage passes for herself and her family, and when they went back to do the meet and greet portion of their tickets, Rihanna didn't even face them and actually asked one of her assistants to come and sign something for them, sitting in her makeup chair like a Disney villain shooing people away. Number 8. George Clooney. George Clooney is the epitome of class, okay? Just watch his Nespresso commercial with Danny DeVito. These two were meant to be together. He is known to be very charming, especially when meeting fans or appearing at red carpet events. But it turns out that George Clooney is not exactly the easiest man to work for. Apparently, George is a little bit stingy and is extremely paranoid that people will take advantage of him, meaning that he is very untrusting of his staff. According to disgraced former employees who left in shame, Clooney's staff are not allowed to go anywhere near the no-no juice chamber, or cabinet as most people call it. George is reportedly nervous that someone will try to steal a sip of some of his more expensive options. The staff alleged that George would mark his bottles after each use so that he could actually see where the liquid was the last time that he had himself a glass. After each and every use, this man was just whipping out a marker and just notching away and just remarking and remarking. Hey, paranoia is one thing, but that is next level, okay? Just get a little bottle lock or something more complicated. I feel like there are some easy ways to get around that if you really dedicated your time to it. I'm not gonna do that, but someone might. Number 7. Beyonce. Beyonce has 3 simple rules if you work for her on tour. Hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And in other words, don't look at Beyonce, don't talk to Beyonce, don't even listen to Beyonce. Maybe not that last one, but you get my point. Beyonce is a massive star now, but even 10 years back, she was considered to be a major diva that felt that she was above everybody else. While she was on tour in 2013, all local staff were advised not to look or speak or approach Beyonce. They were explicitly told that if she was walking down a hall towards them, to find an unlocked room and get in there as soon as possible, out of sight, out of mind. On top of that, everything backstage had to be draped in linen, which then had to be smoothed out after she would walk on it. Now, if that's how rude she was in 2013, imagine what she must be like now. She probably has someone fanning her in a chair between sets, while another person feeds her grapes and does her taxes. Luxury. That is luxury. Number 6. Zooey Deschanel. New girl Zooey Deschanel is known in Hollywood as a lovable, dorky little lady. She's so pure and innocent, and she dated Jim Carrey in Yes Man for some reason. Such a good movie, I'm not gonna bash on it. But it's not just Hollywood that knows Zooey as a lovable dork, her fans do too. There is no way that she would have a mean bone in her body, right? Well, it turns out that Deschanel is actually very rude and reportedly very demanding. While working on the set of the sitcom New Girl, several former staff members claimed that Zooey was constantly making up her own rules on the set and on the show. Being the main character allowed her to voice her ideas, and more often than not, the showrunners would just make it work. One of those rules that she made up was that at the end of each episode, that it had to be her and another character. She's gotta be the last face you see before watching Big Bang Theory again. It's a great show, and if you hate it, you're just trying to be cool. Overall, she is not even close to the worst person on this list, but we gotta include her because she did make a PA quit out of frustration. But they're not considered people, so who cares? I was a PA, I'm allowed to make that joke. Number 5. Kate Gosselin. Kate, who you may know from her reality show Kate Plus 8, is reportedly very mean to the people she employs. In fact, they would go so far as to say that she is a terrible boss. Oh, I'm sorry for my language. A former nanny who worked for Gosselin revealed that Kate made her babysitter's life a living nightmare. Gosselin got famous for being a mother of 8. My mom comes from a family of 9, but you don't see a TV show for the Newfoundlanders. Now that would be good TV. Despite Kate coming from such a large family and having to take care of so many kids at once, she writes guidelines for the people that work for her. According to several of her former employees, most of Gosselin's nannies quit quit almost immediately after being hired. Some of the demands that Kate had included in the rule books were things like washing her expensive cutlery by hand and never placing them on the kitchen table. You had to just... The rule book also said that the staff would be meant to walk lightly, something that was to be taught to the kids as well. Now, I couldn't figure out what the term walk lightly means, but I'm imagining it means teaching the kids to walk like cat burglars from like a 60s cartoon, but that feels wrong for some reason. Number 4, Victoria Beckham. Victoria is talented in many ways, mainly known for being Posh Spice from the Spice Girls. Despite her larger-than-life persona on stage, offstage she is much more serious and straightforward. Her work ethic is very simple: work and work hard. This method is taught to each and every one of her staff members. A former nanny revealed that Victoria was actually quite rude when it came to being a boss, going on to say that she expected all of her nannies to respond to the name Joe even if their name wasn't Joe. The logic that some are suggesting is that maybe the Beckhams just didn't want their kids to be confused by the multiple nannies and names. They just needed to stick to one to refer to their staff, right? But at the same time, forcing your nannies to respond to a name that's not remotely similar to their own is very rude and annoying. Number 3, Naomi Campbell. Naomi is no stranger to a fiery tantrum or two. According to many people close to her, she has a short temper and some serious anger issues, so as you can imagine, being on her staff is nothing to celebrate about. Her history of mistreating staff is long and legendary. There were so many choices I could have put in this list. In 2000, Campbell was sued by her assistant Georgina Galanis. Apparently, Campbell whacked Georgina with a telephone in a hotel room and then told her she was going to throw her out of a moving car. She pleaded guilty to the charges, admitting that she lashed out in a fit of rage. In 2004, she supposedly headbutted an assistant, bit her lip, and yanked her to the floor, screaming, "F you, you worthless snitch!" Except she didn't say snitch. This woman cannot keep her hands to herself. She transforms into a UFC fighter every time she gets upset. In 2006, Campbell allegedly went after her housekeeper with a cell phone and just flung it right at her. In the past couple of years, more and more stories of former employees have been released, with the general consensus being that this lady is a menace and needs to take a chill pill. Number 2, Madonna. Madonna's voice is known around the world, but so is the fact that she can be a little bit mean from time to time. Not only have there been eyewitness accounts of her being rude to fans, but she's also a bit stingy when it comes to her staff. A few years back, an anonymous source revealed that when one of Madonna's dancers broke her arm during practice, that instead of being concerned and helping, Madonna had a full-blown meltdown, berating the dancer for being so bad at their job. There were also allegations that she said there shall be no fat country singers in her presence. Only she didn't say re-singers. Another source backed these stories up and added that Madonna does not pay very well, but she knows that she can pay people less to work for her for grueling hours because, hey, she's Madonna. There are probably some people out there who would work for a turkey sandwich just to be someone's assistant. White bread with lettuce, please. The source agreed that if there is one common theme with Madonna and her staff, it is that her ego overshadows them and they are supposed to feel lucky to be in her presence. Neither of the sources specified when they quit, but considering the stories, it sounded like they were with Madonna for quite some time. And at number 1, Courtney Love. Singer, actor, and wage thief Courtney Love has a bad habit of not paying her employees. According to some former assistants, she promises big things and fails to deliver on them constantly. In 2010, Love hired Jessica Labrie as her assistant. Courtney allegedly promised her lots of cool things, including bonuses, promotions, a scholarship to Yale, a job on the set of Nirvana's biopic, heck, even a job at Courtney's very own management company. Well, sign me up, man. That's a no-brainer. Only, if something sounds too good to be true, it almost always is. Of course, Jessica agreed to work for Courtney, but Love failed to deliver on any of her promises. There was no job on the Nirvana set, there was no scholarship to Yale, sometimes there wasn't even a paycheck. Labrie eventually sued Courtney for lost wages. Sure, she was mad that she didn't get any of the cool things that she was promised, but her main issue was the $2,000 that she was not paid. During the court proceedings, Jessica revealed that while working for Courtney, she was asked to hire a computer hacker to fake legal correspondence. What shady things did she want to cover up? Well, I guess we'll find out in another video. Number 10. Lizzo. It was revealed a little while back that a lawsuit has been filed against the famous pop singer Lizzo, accusing her of creating a toxic work environment and mistreating her background dancers. The accusations range from fat shaming her crew to forcing them to eat strange fruit from strange places. One of the dancers, Crystal Davies, who is part of the lawsuit, was fired for secretly recording a meeting between herself and Lizzo. The meeting was about the dancer's performance on stage recently and her apparent dislike of the weight that she'd been gaining, claiming that she wasn't committing to her role. According to the plaintiffs, Lizzo made them work ridiculous hours, including up to 12-hour rehearsal days. One of the dancers recounted an experience of having to use the washroom and was forced to do it in her pants while rehearsing so she didn't lose any time. Like, hey Lizzo, if someone asks to use the bathroom, let him go. It took longer for them to get the poor woman a change of clothes than it would have to let her take a fight. When the news broke, the world collectively turned on Lizzo and believed every single word that these women are saying, and so far it seems like that's valid. While Lizzo continues to deny the allegations, her career just gets worse and worse. Several of her live stage shows have been canceled, her music's been pulled from radio stations, and there's an investigation taking place, which is never a good thing. Number 9. Christian Bale. Rumors that the former Batman actor is mean to his co-stars and crew have run rampant for years, ever since his infamous voice recording captured on the set of Terminator Judgment Day. For those who don't know, he shouted at a guy for being in his line of sight during a take. Real professional. However, a former publicist of Christian's named Harrison Chung shared a ton of behind-the-scenes stories, including the fact that Christian was in fact a really mean person, to the point where he literally made little kids cry when they would approach him as fans. Instead of appreciating his reach and enjoying his time with the fans, he reportedly responded to them with anger and lectures about personal space. Chung claimed that working for Christian was a nightmare, so much so that he had to take years of therapy. There have been a few stories regarding Christian and his anger over the years, but making kids cry and forcing the person making him look good to take therapy just means that there's something wrong with this guy. Number 8. Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is known for a lot of things. A Star Is Born, her music career, but for an ex-assistant named Jennifer O'Neill, Lady Gaga is just simply known as evil. O'Neill filed a lawsuit against her former boss in 2013 for $400 grand, the money that she claimed she was owed for her time working as Gaga's assistant. Clapping back against the claims, Gaga got heated. Say that 10 times fast. She counterclaimed that she was forced to do most of the assistant's work herself, complaining that she had to carry her own bags to her room all by herself like a normal person. O'Neill worked with Gaga for 13 months on a $75,000 salary and accompanied her on her Monster Ball World Tour. In trying to justify her actions as a boss, she admitted to partying late at night, sleeping in all day, and literally screaming in the streets. During the court hearing for the case, she also launched into an F-word fueled tirade, swearing over and over again at Jennifer. Gaga was basically blasting this woman with allegations and just kind of denying everything that she was saying. Gaga claimed that Jennifer was always made to be an equal on tour, where Jennifer claims to have been overwhelmed with her workload. Instead of paying O'Neill the damages, Gaga claimed that she was going to spread the wealth to the people that currently worked for her, aka the ones who really deserve it. Eventually they were able to settle the situation outside of court, but the exact dollar exchange is unknown. Number 7. Bill Murray. Bill has always been outed as a menace on set. He yelled at Lucy Liu on the set of Charlie's Angels, but that's not even close to when it started. He got fired from that set, but that's part of another video. Another altercation came off camera on a completely different film. In 1991, Bill was filming What About Bob, a comedy flick of course, but the set was anything but. He reportedly got into an argument with a producer on the film named Laura Ziskin that resulted in him literally throwing her in a lake. Now at the time she called the incident playful, but the rest of the production time was also filled with similar outbursts. Bill would regularly snap on set especially, and directed a lot of his attention at Laura. She recounted a time when Bill said that he was going to throw her across the parking lot before breaking her sunglasses and throwing them across the parking lot. But it wasn't just Laura that was scolded on set. One day when Bill asked her for a day off and she said no, he flipped in front of the entire crew. He ripped off her glasses and threw them on the ground. Bill's co-star Richard Dreyfuss confronted him about his behavior, and Bill responded by launching an ashtray at him like he was Captain America or something. Everyone on set walked off and flew home to Los Angeles. The film only resumed production when Disney agreed to hire a bodyguard to physically keep these two separate in between takes. Number 6. Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, a beauty salon company, which would allow the brand previously only available online and in random pop-ups to actually be on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 stores, which is unfortunate considering where those products actually come from. A lot of employees at the factories that mixed and packaged her makeup and beauty products reported that they were never given proper safety equipment, and you kinda need that to do that job. They were only given like hair nets, lab coats, safety goggles, which meant that their hands and faces were completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines, mild chemical burns on their hands, and if that isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's new products. Needless to say, a lot of people quit their jobs very quickly. Kylie was very proud of her company not testing products on animals, but can we all agree that using people is just way worse? Number 5. Mariah Carey. Mariah may get stuck in your head between the months of November and January, but in 2019, all Maria Burgess wanted for Christmas was her wages. Maria sued Mariah, alleging that she worked for Mariah between 2017 and 2018, but did not receive any pay and had to deal with tremendous stress. In the lawsuit, she alleged that Carey would not allow her to take breaks, and she did not specify the hours she had to work, but the lawsuit implied that she basically worked around the clock 24/7. She claims that she was finally forced to leave Mariah after she complained about her working environment, to which Mariah responded with, "I don't care." The suit was apparently settled outside of court, and knowing Mariah Carey, she probably just forked over the cash, no questions asked. She's Mariah Carey. Number 4. Miley Cyrus. Ever since her Disney days, Miley Cyrus has slowly been descending into this weird space between a sweet person and a terrible person. Mostly terrible. While she is known to be a little bit cold towards her fans, her staff has had it even worse. An anonymous source revealed to Radar Online that Miley had 2 dogs who were not house trained. Apparently, Miley just never bothered to train them herself, so every time they would relieve themselves inside, she would just yell at her staff for not picking it up immediately. Not only had she made her own employees cry and quit, apparently this was something that she did to a ton of employees around the world, reportedly causing mayhem in a New York City hotel after inviting several of her friends over for a good time. According to the hotel staff, she acted like a toddler when they asked her to chill out, literally telling them that they should be grateful that she was even there. Number 3. Kourtney Kardashian. While Kim Kardashian may not be the best boss in the world, Kourtney Kardashian is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the absolute worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, but she is also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a grocery store while she was shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast. Because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's her. But this isn't the worst thing that she's done. At one time, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to act properly, she berated the nanny, telling her that she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Because yes, blame the woman that you're paying to raise your kids instead of the kid itself. That makes so much sense. Number 2. Kim Kardashian. How can I do this list without talking about Kim, right? Kim Kardashian is arguably the most famous of her Kardashian sisters, and it would seem she's also the busiest. For example, she has 4 kids, skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and she recently even hopped on the podcast train, in addition to filming her new reality TV show on Hulu. Yeah, you may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all that by herself? Well, because she pays people to do stuff for her, of course. She has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than her. For example, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by the nanny, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table away from them at the restaurant, but she's also known to make the nannies walk like 10 feet away from her at all times, unless she has multiple people with her at once, and then she likes to make them like a walking V formation because it looks cool. If they walk near her or attempt to like walk side by side, she blows up on them behind closed doors. Needless to say, she's had many nannies over the years and's probably made them all cry at least once in a closet. Number 1. Ellen. Ellen DeGeneres had one of the most successful daytime talk shows right up until 2020. Her show became overwhelmed with accusations of a toxic work environment from former employees. They were claiming that Ellen's happy exterior was nothing more than this facade she was putting in place to keep her audience happy. Fans began questioning awkward moments on her show, and eventually the cracks in her appearance grew bigger and bigger. And there was just way too much information being leaked for any of this to be fake, so Ellen was eventually forced to cancel her show and subsequently herself. She denied every single accusation until the day she was done, but here we are, Ellen free in 2023.
Corey Feldman has been calling out Hollywood for decades and no one listened. Allegedly, not even the police. Feldman shared that he did sit down with the police to share a list of names for them to investigate for acting inappropriately towards those under the age of 18, but the police didn't do much. Feldman had been in the industry since a very young age and has expressed that he doesn't like that fact. But the real sharing of Hollywood secrets came in his 2013 memoir, Choreography. He shared that industry adults acted inappropriately towards him when he was very much not an adult, and that some of those people are still or were still working. It's really heartbreaking that all this happened, and Feldman did share that it has been really hard for him, that he wants to fight the fight for survivors. Feldman also shares that he applauds all victims for letting their voices be heard, and he encourages the public debate to continue. Megan Fox was calling out big stars and this thing referred to as the casting couch long before the Me Too movement. The term casting couch can be literal or figurative. Without getting too into it, the term means someone getting a position on a movie set by doing a specific type of favor for someone. In a 2009 interview with GQ, Fox revealed that the people using this casting couch method weren't just producers or casting directors, but also some Hollywood legends, in her words. She said, "It's really so heartbreaking. Some of these people, like Hollywood legends, you think you're going to meet them and you're so excited, like, I can't believe this person wants to have a conversation with me, and you get there and you realize that's not what they want at all." If you can believe it, Megan Fox wasn't treated very well after this admission. Some people didn't believe her due to her sort of bad girl image at the time. It wasn't until years later in the Me Too movement that people took her past comments and stories as seriously as they should have. Britney Spears' life story and book about her life story exposed just how controlling Hollywood can be. The news of her father basically, allegedly, controlling every aspect of the singer's life rocked the internet and led to large social media outcry to free Britney from her conservatorship. It was revealed that the star had little control over her finances, family life, and just her life in general. Her 2023 book, The Woman in Me, dropped more interesting stories and facts about the singer's life. One particular story about how she got pregnant took the internet by storm. While Britney was dating Justin Timberlake, she got pregnant with his baby, but felt as though she could not keep the child, even though she really wanted to. Timberlake felt he wasn't ready to be a father, and so Britney ended the pregnancy. In the book she wrote, "If it had been left up to me alone, I never would have done it," and to this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I have ever experienced in my life. The book highlighted that being the most popular person in the world is not everything it's cracked up to be. Courtney Love had let us know about a certain recently convicted someone long before he was convicted. The certain someone that everyone knew what he was doing in Hollywood and yet nothing happened until recently. Hint, he shares a name with a popular fast food burger place. Yeah, that guy. Courtney Love hit a red carpet in 2005 and joined Comedy Central for an interview. The interviewer asked the blonde bombshell, "Do you have any advice for a young girl moving to Hollywood?" Love seemed unsure on how to respond at first, but then chose to become one of the first people to warn us about the burger name guy. She responded, I'll get libeled if I say it. If insert that man's name here invites you to a private party in the Four Seasons, don't go." The man many years later got in trouble with the law for those parties at the Four Seasons and what he would do to women there. Love, at the time, was treated very poorly after this moment, but has now received a lot of, well, love since all the stories came out, and is regarded as one of the first people that attempted to expose the terrible behavior. Jeanette McCurdy stood up to the entertainment industry when she released her book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. It revealed how child stars might sometimes not be protected by the people that should love them the most. In the book, McCurdy shared that she felt her whole childhood and adolescence were very exploited. Younger stars for years have unfortunately felt similar pressure to what McCurdy shared in her book, and we will get to some of them later in the video. About the revelation regarding her younger years, McCurdy shared, "It still gives my nervous system a reaction to say it. There were cases where people had the best intentions and maybe didn't know what they were doing, and also cases where they knew exactly what they were doing." McCurdy spent a lot of time talking about her mother in the book, which makes sense considering the title. Some stories that were shared included a not yet able to consume certain beverages McCurdy being offered one of those drinks by someone that she refers to as the creator. She also shared that she wished her mother had intervened when a photo shoot resulted in a not yet legal McCurdy feeling pressured to wear a bikini. McCurdy shared that instead of her mother standing up for her, she would often receive the reminder, "Everyone wants what you have." Bella Thorne and Zendaya starred on the Disney Channel show Shake It Up together. Even though the show was great, their relationship wasn't so amazing at first, at least according to Bella Thorne. Bella Thorne revealed the rough start to the pair's friendship on the show while speaking with US Weekly. Though the pair on the show were the best of friends in real life, Bella shared that the pair didn't even consider themselves friends until a couple seasons into the show. The reason for this? Bella says it was because people on the show were pitting the girls against each other. Bella shared that this fed into our heads. It made us not friends in that first season. It's sad to learn that a show that was so loved by young viewers hadn't been quite a safe space for the girls. This interview isn't the first time Bella has mentioned the made-up competition between them. In 2017, she said that the pair were forced to compete against each other and that they were placed in a very unfortunate position. It was an interesting reveal when Bella shared that the pair didn't actually become friends while working on their show, but instead while shooting an episode for another popular Disney show, Good Luck Charlie. That was the time for the two to set things straight. About this time, Bella said, "We were really able to put our cards out on the table and understand each other. From that point on, the pair did get along and are now friends." Kim Kardashian has let the cat out of the bag when it comes to the paparazzi. One photographer revealed that Kim regularly texts him where she is going to be so that he can come and take some shots of the reality TV star. It exposed something that a lot of people suspected, but it's nice to get confirmation on, that sometimes when you see a paparazzi photo of a celeb that looks a little too perfect to be candid, it might be because it's really staged and posed. The photographer revealed that Kim allegedly has him on speed dial and even flies him around with her to get the candid photos. He also reveals that the paparazzi pictures he takes get reviewed by Kim, and I'm assuming her team, and photoshopped before they are sold to major magazines and websites. This isn't the first and surely won't be the last time pops are hired for something like this. Long before the news around Kim K's pops made it out in 2016, stars of The Hills, Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag also had a similar agreement with some pops, crafting pictures of themselves to sell for profit. Now, this isn't to say that pops are always hired to take pictures. There are many times when that is clearly not the case, but the public has speculated for years that paparazzi might not be as random as they are portrayed. I mean, when you think about it, it makes way more sense that they might be called to a location instead of them just roaming a city with a big camera every night hoping to catch somebody. Jack Nicholson revealed an interesting tidbit about life on set. Apparently, certain substances were incredibly common, the kind of stuff that can get addictive if one isn't careful. Yeah, it might be no secret now that that kind of thing is common in Hollywood, but that wasn't always the case. In a 1980 interview, Nicholson shared that the substances ain't no big thing, and that he would get influenced about 4 days a week. Again, the presence of certain things in Hollywood was something suspected by many that is nice to get confirmation on. It's also just surprising that it would be happening on set very commonly, apparently. Who could have guessed? Addictive on-camera performances could have come from an equally as addictive something else. Another actor, Dennis Quaid, further confirmed these vibes on set and how it didn't always go well. He actually said that the substances caused his entire life to fall apart and said that they were one of his greatest mistakes. The star of The Rookie and The Parent Trap revealed that originally he just used stuff casually since that was what everyone was doing. This and more was revealed in an article published in Newsweek. Quaid did reveal something even more shocking about Hollywood, that major studios would actually include the substances in their budgets. Quaid shares it was even in the budgets of movies, thinly disguised it was petty cash. So if you were to see petty cash listed in a budget, it probably meant something else entirely. Quaid went on to say that since everyone was doing the petty cash stuff, sets would sometimes supply it. People would even make deals. So while many have guessed that this stuff was present in Hollywood, it was a major shock to many to find out just how entwined it was with the movie making process. The recently released documentary Quiet on Set, featuring Nickelodeon star Drake Bell, is the most recent example of Hollywood's worst being exposed. Without going into too much detail, the documentary features Drake Bell sharing stories about what he experienced while working for Nickelodeon, stories of things that would make anyone feel sick. The admissions from the documentary have led to widespread support towards Bell and widespread hatred towards former dialogue coach Brian Peck. The documentary showed just how twisted Hollywood can be when it comes to young stars. The it couple of Hollywood, Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, are no stranger to controversy, being accused of various things over the years, like transmitting diseases or faking documents. It's truly a wild ride trying to keep up with the two A-listers. Kylie Jenner is no stranger to the luxuries of life, like private planes. Stars do sometimes need access to private flights for security reasons, but social media was up in arms in July of 2022 after the reality TV star took a 17-minute flight. The star took her private jet a couple cities over, and people online calculated that the flight could have been a 45-minute car ride. I personally don't get the short private jet flights, just because after driving to the airport, getting on the flight, taking off, touching down, getting off, driving from the airport, wouldn't that all exceed 45 minutes? You can tell I've never been on a private plane. Other social media users were quick to point out just how much carbon would have been released from the short flight, about a quarter of the average person's annual carbon footprint, or 1 ton. The 45-minute car ride would have had a significantly lower impact on the environment. This isn't even the worst flight Jenner has reportedly taken. In June, she had taken a flight that was just 9 minutes. Social media users have called out the star for this behavior, some calling her a climate criminal. July of 2020 revealed that the makeup millionaire Kylie Jenner is accused of being a bad tipper. A video shared to TikTok by a former Manhattan restaurant hostess details her opinions on different A-listers she met while working at the restaurant. The video features names like Hailey Bieber and the Hadid sisters, both talked about in positive light. Jenner, unfortunately, did not receive the same treatment. The hostess clarified that the reality TV star's behavior wasn't an issue, saying that she was fine. It was the bill at the end. The former hostess claimed that Jenner tipped $20 on a $500 bill. The former hostess ended her bit about Jenner saying, "Do with that what you will," and rated the star as a 2 out of 10 guest. This did cause some controversy online, some people agreeing that Kylie should have tipped more, around 20% instead of 4%. That would have been about a $100 tip. Others are saying that maybe the service wasn't great and $20 isn't that bad. Let me know your thoughts on the situation in the comments. Timothée Chalamet's fan base had a meltdown after videos of him smoking at the Beyonce concert he attended with Kylie went viral. The elusive Hollywood couple makes few public appearances together, so all eyes were on them at Beyonce's September 4th concert last year. Most of what was seen was just kisses and cuddles, but one particular Timothy action had fans clutching their pearls, but for good reason though. Timothy is seen in a video from the event smoking. This does break the rules of the venue, and fans were not happy about that. Timothée Chalamet smoking is not necessarily the biggest surprise. There are photos of him doing it before, lots of people in Hollywood do it, but smoking inside the stadium is definitely not very nice to those around him. This next point is like whiplash. Kylie is known for being active on social media, posting on her Instagram story frequently. For such a major star, usually posts are like planned to complement each other, but in this case, the two could not have been more different. Back in the very beginning of 2020, Jenner took to her Instagram story to raise awareness for what was happening in Australia at the time with all the devastating fires. Particularly, Jenner's Instagram story post was about the large amount of animals that had passed due to the fires and how sad that was and how people could help. It was a great message, exactly the thing to do to raise awareness. However, shortly after posting this message, Jenner posted photos of her new slippers to her story. Her new mink fur slippers, real fur. Fans thought this was an incredibly inappropriate thing to post, wearing fur right after making a big post about saving the animals in Australia. Many social media users were quick to weigh in on the controversy, one writing, "Kylie posting a story about the AU fires, then a story of her mink LV slippers is my favorite new definition of tone deaf. The slipper slip up wasn't a good look." Maybe the most hilarious of the secrets on this list would have to be the Timothée Chalamet spreading chlamydia around the NYU campus. It's not true, apparently. The reason this rumor even started is just as wild as the rumor itself. Allegedly, according to fans online, the rumor started from a fanfiction. This happened in a fanfiction, I guess, and everyone just started taking it as fact. Not to say that there is no truth to the rumor. I personally don't know him, so I can't tell you exactly what he got up to in college. Kylie's lip kits and her plastic surgery caused some ruffled feathers when it was first revealed the star received the procedures. Kylie getting exposed for receiving plastic surgery isn't necessarily that bad. She is absolutely allowed to do whatever she wants to her body, it is hers. What people had a problem with is that she was using it to sell her lip kit products. Most of the marketing for her famous lip kits was about how it would make your lips look bigger, just like Kylie's, that all you needed for the plump lip look was a Kylie Jenner lip kit. Only that wasn't true at all, even for Kylie. Her famous pout was achieved not just through makeup, but also plastic surgery. Many said this marketing was creating unrealistic expectations and was contributing contributing to body image issues among younger fans. Now Kylie is more open about the procedures she received. Kylie Jenner admitted in an interview that she uses her housekeeper as an arm model for her makeup swatches. While being interviewed by Fast Money, Kylie dropped this interesting confession. She revealed that the reason why she picked her housekeeper to show off the highlighter swatches was because she has the best arms for swatches and she's so nice and just sits there and has her arm ready and lets me do my thing. So it seems like her housekeeper enjoys being there, which thank goodness. Still, people found the entire thing a little odd and were quick to criticize the situation, especially how Kylie spoke of her housekeeper. Many said that the way Kylie was speaking about her housekeeper was akin to how one might speak of a pet, and were also pointing out that this wasn't a housekeeper's job and that they hoped Jenner at least compensated her for the modeling. Though Jenner being able to do this does indicate a good relationship, so surely her housekeeper must be fine with it. It's been happening for years, but in 2024 it was revealed again that one of Kylie's brands stole designs from a smaller business. In the post, Kylie's makeup brand had stolen photo shoot ideas from a makeup artist on Instagram, but this time it's all about Kylie's clothing line, Kai. Australian brand Johansson is known for a specific silhouette. It looks classic and it has like twisted sleeves usually, and they've actually dressed Kylie Jenner before. The owner of Johansson was surprised when Kai's new collection dropped because it looked incredibly similar to many of the company's designs. Jessica Johansson took to TikTok to express her frustration and show comparisons of the two brands side by side. From what I saw, they are almost identical. Pair that with the fact that Kylie knows the brand and has worn the clothes, it's not looking good. This isn't the first time Kai has been accused of stealing designs. Before this, in 2023, designer Betsy Johnson accused the brand of the same thing. This is not the Betsy Johnson, the American designer, this is someone else. She was a model and is from Grimsby. Johnson at this point had recently announced a line called Products and was met with praise. It featured lots of leather and made a point to look luxurious. Kylie's brand released a line that had striking similar design ideas. Turns out Johnson had sent some emails to Kylie's product team months before the drops. In an Instagram story, Johnson wrote, "We emailed Kylie and her team Products Ltd concept and language and a line sheet 6 months ago. Interesting concept, Kylie. Interesting. Thanks for the cosign." A line sheet is a tool used to showcase clothing and the info about selling at wholesale, so it probably would have had a lot of the product's designs on it. Not a good look. The summer of 2020 was the backdrop for the shocking accusation that Kendall and Kylie didn't pay their workers. Claims were made against the sisters' shared brand, Kendall and Kylie, that they weren't compensating workers in Bangladesh for their work. The alleged reason why was the COVID-19 pandemic. An article from Remake was published in June of 2020, and it was the first to bring this claim to light. Here's the thing, were Kendall and Kylie directly responsible for paying the workers? Technically no. Everything went through the company they were working with, Global Brands Group. So the claim was actually against them. The claim was that they refused to pay its garment suppliers for orders produced in February and March following a drop in sales caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The sisters did address the claims publicly in a statement on Instagram, writing, "We would like to address the unfortunate and incorrect rumor that Global Brands Group owns the Kendall and Kylie brand and that we have neglected to pay factory workers in Bangladesh as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is untrue. The Kendall and Kylie brand is owned by 3072541 Canada Inc., not GBG. The brand has worked with CAA GBG in the past in a sales and business development capacity only, but we do not currently have any relationship at all with GBG." So though they had been affiliated in the past, it was not the case anymore, and it was an unfortunate accident that the sisters were brought into the conversation. Kylie Jenner made history and truly became King Kylie when she was crowned Forbes' youngest self-made billionaire ever at age 21. It came out towards the end of 2020 that allegedly false tax returns had been used to prove Kylie's billionaire status. So she wasn't actually a billionaire, still very, very, very rich, just not a billionaire. She was close to almost there. Her updated net worth at the time when Forbes revoked the title was just under $900 million. A report was published in the magazine after they had realized that they had been lied to. The report accused Kylie's mom, Kris Jenner, of being a key player in the falsehood. In the report, Forbes said, "Kylie's business is significantly smaller and less profitable than the family has spent years leading the cosmetics industry and media outlets, including Forbes, to believe." The magazine did go on to clarify some things, saying, "While we can't prove that those documents were fake, though it's likely, it's clear that Kylie's camp has been lying." Today, Kylie Jenner's net worth is estimated to be about $700 million. The only member of the family with a billion net worth right now is Kim Kardashian with a net worth of around $1.7 billion. Mark Wahlberg is making headlines for David Beckham's lawsuit against him. him, but that is just one more controversy on a long list that often gets overlooked. His first noted transgression happened almost 4 decades ago in 1986. Wahlberg and his friend group at the time had a civil rights injunction issued for them because they were throwing things and yelling racially insensitive words. Then 2 years after that, he proved he could be worse, acting in an aggressive manner towards 2 Vietnamese men. He was sentenced to 2 years for that one, served 45 days. 1992 was the incident with his neighbor. Then there was the pay scandal from 2018 when he worked on All the Money in the World. He got $1.5 million for the reshoots. Michelle Williams got $1,000. He did donate his portion after the backlash, which that was good. Still, his track record is an interesting one, and these are just the things we know about. Wahlberg has said though that he has spent the better part of his life trying to make up for his past wrongs. Most of Hollywood seems to want us to believe that paparazzi are out, just roaming like vultures, just waiting to snap the perfect photo, and that's not always true. Sometimes paparazzi might spontaneously be at a location if it's a known celebrity hub, or a hotel before a premiere, or a popular celebrity's house, or even a star-studded town like LA. But those random shots of people leaving the grocery store in the middle of nowhere, or some random coffee shop, those might not be as authentic as we are made to believe. Turns out paparazzi are sometimes called to a location, whether that's just to get some pictures of new talent out there, or to help set up a PR stunt. A paparazzi that regularly works with the Kardashians shared that Kim Kardashian sometimes texts him her location, even flying her favorite paparazzi around the world with her to get those perfect, glamorous, candid shots. Sure, some pictures of celebrities are definitely the real caught-off-guard thing, but definitely not all of them. Rebecca Ferguson may have let us know about a particularly nasty encounter with a castmate, but she is keeping their name out of the headlines, for now at least. Ferguson is in the film Dune 2, which just had its press tour. It was during an interview with Josh Smith on the tour that Ferguson revealed the shocking info that she was once screamed at on set by a co-star. The case was taken up by internet sleuths in no time, theories all over social media about who it could have been. Ferguson has chosen to keep that part to herself. She has since expressed that she shared the story mainly because it was a turning point in her perception of herself and her career, and wanted to share the story because it fit the question Smith had asked her. Still, people are angry about the way she was treated and what was said to her. The unnamed co-star allegedly yelled, "You call yourself an actor? This is what I have to work with? What is this?" Ferguson shared that though it did hurt in the moment, it was the first time she stood up for herself on a set, telling the person to get off her set and F off, and that she never wants to see them again. Since we don't know who she is talking about, we don't know if she never saw them again, but hopefully not. For the longest time, Britney Spears was hiding some pretty dark secrets, but not because she wanted to. During the pandemic, people began noticing something was up with Spears, and soon people started to piece together the restrictive nature of her conservatorship. The news of how her father basically, allegedly controlled every aspect of the singer's life rocked the internet and led to a large social media outcry to free Britney. The star allegedly had little control over her finances, family life, and just her life in general. Her book, The Woman in Me, dropped in 2023 and revealed more interesting stories and secrets about the singer's life. One particular story about how she got pregnant took the internet by storm. While Britney and Justin Timberlake were dating, she got pregnant with his baby, but felt she couldn't keep the child even though she really wanted to. Justin Timberlake just didn't feel ready to be a father, so Britney felt forced to end the pregnancy. In her book she wrote, "If it had been left up to me alone, I never would have done it, and to this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I have ever experienced in my life." The book highlighted that being the most popular person in the world is not everything it's cracked up to be, and Britney's story showcased just how controlled Hollywood stars might be. Madonna is a bit of a wild child now and no stranger to controversy, but she hasn't always had the easiest time. She's got a pretty rough history with ex-husband Sean Penn. Penn was accused of acting rudely towards the Material Girl singer during their marriage. The breaking point in the marriage happened when Penn allegedly tied Madonna to a chair and left. She sat for 9 hours. She did escape and managed to get to a police station to file a complaint. Penn was charged, but Madonna ended up pulling the complaints and instead filed for divorce, leaving the marriage with "May God bless and keep him, but far, far from me." Sean Penn's career may have suffered briefly, but he's still very active in Hollywood and has been in multiple big films over the years since the 1988 incident. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis tried to keep this secret as hidden as possible, much to the disappointment of their fans and the the internet in general. Kutcher and Kunis starred on That 70s Show alongside Danny Masterson. Masterson was found guilty of acting inappropriately towards 2 women and will spend 30 years behind bars for his behavior. Great news to the average person. It was great news that he was even going to trial. It seems the news wasn't so awesome to Kutcher and Kunis, as the pair penned letters to the judge handling Masterson's case asking for leniency. The internet did not appreciate their efforts and was quick to put the actors in their place, so much so that they posted an apology video to Instagram. Alfred Hitchcock's legacy has shielded some of his more deranged actions from the public's consciousness in the decades since he has passed. Many hear the name and recall amazing films expertly put together, but the expert has truly insane ways of achieving what we get to see on the screen. It might surprise you, or not surprise you at all, to learn that the methods of creating his horror movie The Birds were just as horrific as the movie. Lead actress of the film, Tippi Hedren, shares a particularly harrowing story in her 2016 memoir Tippi. She writes about the day they were going to film the famous scene where her character is attacked by birds in the bedroom. Tippi shares that she was told the birds in the scene were going to be robotic. However, on the day of the shoot, she found out from the assistant director that the mechanical birds weren't working, so they had no choice but to use live birds. No choice? Really? Okay. This led to a brutal experience for the actress. 5 days of filming the scene where live birds were thrown at her. Tippi describes the ordeal as brutal and ugly and relentless, but it was going to get worse. On the final day, Hitchcock decided to tie the birds to her while she was laying on the floor, and once action was called, the birds started to peck. It wasn't until one nearly got her eye that she stopped it all and was doing so bad she had to go on a doctor's mandated week of rest. Judy Garland is forever immortalized as the cheerful, sweet Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, but the Ruby Red legacy is hiding a lot more heartache than anyone could have guessed. She didn't have an amazing relationship with her mother, and her schedule while working for MGM was always packed. Days started early and sometimes ended in the early morning of the next day. This led to Garland needing some outside assistance to keep on her feet, the kind of thing that would plague her for the rest of her life. The set of The Wizard of Oz looked magical, but it was no place for a girl. She was placed on a strict diet so she could look as small as possible, so she would appear as young as possible. She endured poor treatment from studio exec and other actors throughout her career before passing away in 1969. Another example of a young star that was kept under close watch is Jennette McCurdy. She is also another example of a celeb who used a book to discuss her complicated feelings surrounding growing up famous. McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, does contain plenty of stories about her mom's treatment of her, which we will get to, but it also contained insider info on the experience of child stars. McCurdy writing that she felt her whole childhood and adolescence was very exploited. She shared that even years later, after being kind of out of the spotlight, she still feels the effects. She writes, "It still gives my nervous system a reaction to say it. There were cases where people had the best intentions and maybe didn't know what they were doing, and also cases where they knew exactly what they were doing. Most people hope that if a child is going to be entering the workforce of Hollywood so young, they would have a good parent at their side. Unfortunately, Jennette's book highlights that this isn't always the case. She shares stories of times she wished her mom had stepped up more, like when she had felt pressured into doing a bikini photo shoot when she wasn't yet 18. McCurdy continues to share situations that young stars might be put in by adults, including one in which McCurdy was offered an adult drink by someone she referred to as the creator. Jennette shared that whenever she would bring up how she felt uncomfortable with something, she would receive the comment, "Everyone wants what you have." The way young stars are treated in Hollywood is a profoundly uncomfortable topic, one that was just touched on in the landmark Quiet on Set documentary about Nickelodeon. One of the major stories that was told was that of Drake Bell. Without going into too many details, Bell was one of the biggest young actors Nickelodeon had. He was in a few different shows, mainly Drake and Josh, but would do guest appearances on other shows. He was a big deal. He was known for his outgoing, bright personality. So it came as a big shock to the world to hear about everything he was dealing with behind closed doors in the documentary. A dialect coach that worked with Nickelodeon had been acting inappropriately towards the young actor for an extended period of time. The coach did go to court, but in the opinion of many, did not get an adequate punishment for his behavior. Bell had kept the secret to himself for many years, but has now felt okay enough to share his experience. Machine Kelly just recently shared through a tweet that he had been banned from Coachella since 2012. That's over a decade of not being allowed to attend the popular music festival. What could he have possibly done to warrant such a ban? He actually doesn't know. Even back in 2012, he expressed his frustration towards the festival, tweeting, "Coachella is a huge joke, it's corporate AF, and they only accept the accepted, but fake like they don't. Sad that music is so trendy now." So it looks like MGK's wild demeanor was too much for the festival at the time. Coachella may have also been worried about people's safety at the event. MGK is known for riling up his fanbase and generally causing chaos. The incident that could have triggered this decade-long ban may have been a 2011 mall flash mob. In 2011, MGK's Twitter following was around 70,000 people, and he tweeted out to all of them where he would be the next day. He tweeted, "I'm thinking about doing a flash mob at a mall or something tomorrow, LOL Cleveland, should we do one while I'm home?" Following that up with the specific time and the location. Sure enough, hundreds of fans flooded the mall to rage hard with the performer. While it sounds fun, it was also an incredibly dangerous situation. MGK, as part of his plan, encouraged fans to run towards the food court table he would be at once they were there. There were more people there than the mall was able to handle, and imagine a large crowd running at such a small location at once. It was a pretty dangerous situation. MGK was arrested at this event and put in a holding cell. While we have no idea if this was the exact event that caused the ban, it's the most plausible answer. Coachella is known for large crowds of people who might not always be in a conscious state of mind. Having a performer that might call for people to start running to the stage or just generally causing chaos might have caused potential safety risks the festival just wasn't willing to take. MGK was excited to finally be allowed to attend this year. However, as fate would have it, he had to miss again for his daughter's sports tournament. Family comes first, and hey, what's one more year? Travis Scott is actually another example of a performer causing crowd chaos and then getting banned from the music festival. After the Astroworld tragedy of 2021, Travis Scott was removed from the Coachella lineup. The Astroworld tragedy was a crowd crush situation, and while Scott did not have a direct connection to causing the tragedy, of course, he did continue to encourage the crowd to party even after an ambulance went through the crowd. This was enough for Coachella to remove him from their 2022 lineup. If all this wasn't bad enough, people generally consider Travis Scott's apology video about Astroworld to be embarrassing. Many slam the performer for not appearing sincere enough. What is very kind of Scott is that he did offer to pay the funeral costs for the families affected by the tragedy, though many did turn the offer down. Tommy Lee's ban, is it epic or embarrassing? Let me know what you think after listening. Tommy Lee, drummer for Motley Crue and former husband of Pamela Anderson, he was banned from Coachella from pretty much 2011 onward. The reason? Arriving to the music festival in a helicopter, something that is apparently very much not allowed. He touched down alongside Canadian DJ and producer Deadmau5, spelled Dead MAU5. That means both of these guys are banned from Coachella for the foreseeable future, at least as performers. The helicopter isn't even the full story for these two. Apparently, in addition to the helicopter, there was a minivan on the scene that burst into flames, and also knives from somewhere. Just a lot of dangerous things rolled up into one chaotic scene. This was all revealed in a video posted to Mouse's YouTube in a series where he takes famous friends for coffee and they talk about their lives and share fun stories. About the Coachella ban, Lee and Mouse also joke that maybe the person that got them banned or had a hand in making it happen was a Coachella promoter, and that the promoter hated them after it and maybe even before it. Towards the end of the pair discussing this topic, it was declared that Motley Crue would never play Coachella. Here's the thing, Australian singer Conrad Swell was banned from Coachella and he doesn't know exactly why it happened. What makes the situation embarrassing is he got banned pretty much right after meeting his celebrity crush, like right after. In 2016, Swell was at Coachella not as a performer but just there for the vibe, to enjoy some good music. While he was there, he spotted his celebrity crush from when he was a teenager. Mishka Barton, known for her role as Marissa Cooper on The OC. Swell had actually written a song for Barton when he was younger, featuring lyrics like, "I wanna hold your hand because I'm your biggest fan." Barton did end up hearing the song a little while later and thought it was cute, but back to Coachella. Swell, while in a radio interview, showed the picture he took with Barton in 2016 to the hosts of the interview before saying, "That was when I got banned from Coachella for the first time ever." It suggested that he was removed from the event that year shortly after the photo was taken. The radio host was quick to press for details, but all Conrad Swell would give is, "That's a different story." Can't imagine meeting your celebrity crush and then immediately getting removed from the premises. I don't know, that's embarrassing to me. Swell wasn't gone for long though. His band seemed to only be for a couple years. He returned to play the festival in 2018 as part of the set for Kygo, a Norwegian DJ. In 2018, Marilyn Manson confirmed using a tweet that he had previously been banned from the popular music festival. Manson tweeted, "I never thought I would play at a festival I was banned from, but I was invited to join the stage with X Japan. You don't want to miss this one." It hasn't been released what the exact reason for the ban was, but Manson as a person is incredibly controversial, having said racially inappropriate things, acting in an inappropriate manner towards those that he works with and works for him, and his ties to satanic practices. The festival might not have banned him for one specific story, but banned him overall as a precaution. Kate Bush might not have been placed on an official ban list, but the festival had allegedly said she would be too weird to play the festival, and that is almost the same as permanently banning her. These comments were said back in 2017, so it's unclear if the attitude has shifted after Stranger Things brought Kate Bush's music to a younger generation and repopularized the singer. Still, even before Running Up That Hill became 2022's Song of the Summer, Kate Bush was a music icon and a stellar performer. The comment in question, "No one is going to understand it." It's definitely an interesting take when referring to a widely loved performer. Not sure that would matter much. Shortly after the Coachella owner's comments reached the headlines, Bush weighed in and actually agreed with him. Music sets for Coachella are usually pretty scaled back performances, and Bush is known for going all out, so it just wouldn't have worked. Popular American band 21 Pilots have banned themselves from Coachella. The band spoke out about their apparently serious dislike for the popular music festival at another one, the Firefly Music Festival. They actually didn't even just speak about it, they made a full-on video. Before the 21 Pilots set even started at the festival in 2017, they played a video on screen featuring a giant monster attacking Coachella and knocking around a Coachella sign. If that wasn't clear enough for you though, lead singer Tyler Joseph does a whole speech clarifying that it's not that they don't like Coachella, it's just that they can't stand it. They prefer the Firefly Festival where they were performing, if you were wondering. This very public rant is probably the reason why 21 Pilots and Coachella won't mix. The festival probably never will ask now, and even if they did, the band would never say yes. Alex Turner, lead singer for the Arctic Monkeys, and Miles Kane, solo artist and part of the Last Shadow Puppets, shared the stage and a kiss at Coachella 2016, something the festival was not too fond of, it seems. Apparently, while the kiss happened, the camera was quick to pan away, something that doesn't usually happen with a kiss between a heterosexual couple. Take Madonna and Drake from 2015 for example. This is less embarrassing for Alex and Miles and more embarrassing on the festival's part. A clip from the performance went viral on TikTok last year, garnering thousands of comments. Some social media users pointed out some reasons for the lack of camera coverage. One claimed that it might have something to do with one of Coachella's owners donating to anti-LGBTQ+ legislation, another pointing out the same treatment is given to other LGBTQ+ bands like Boy Genius. Though it's not been confirmed that the pair were actually banned or just stayed away by their own decision, it's a suspicious situation. Sly Stone's embarrassing set from 2010 has gone down in Coachella history. Even before he set foot on the stage, it was a mess. Stone was apparently supposed to start his performance at 7 p.m. but then wasn't ready maybe? There were even rumors that he wasn't there. The act that was supposed to go on after him ended up going before, and it was announced that Stone wouldn't go on until 10:45 p.m. Sounds like he was also late for that one, and even when he finally got there at around 11 and started his performance, it wasn't amazing. One person who attended later wrote on their blog that the performance was sad. According to attendees, Stone was not acting the way he normally did. He was stopping songs in the middle and going on lots of rants, famously ranting about his manager, Jerry Goldstein, later being sued for the rant that he made. Jerry claimed that Sly implied that he was a thief. In one of his many speeches, he did outright say that, so it's a fair. The LA Weekly also reported on the show, writing, "Sly would sing a few bars of the classics, but he'd soon stop and start asking what time it was and how long he had to stay on stage to get paid." He also shared with the audience some of his current legal troubles at length and berated his band. Overall, it doesn't sound fun for anyone involved, and it's unlikely Sly will ever be a major performer at Coachella ever again.
In the wake of Pitch Perfect 2's groundbreaking release weekend, Rebel Wilson was caught in one of these very old-fashioned age scandals. According to one of Wilson's high school classmates,
made, speaking anonymously to an Australian tabloid, Wilson had been lying about her age, her name, her upbringing, and her family's class. Those claims were amplified across the Australian and international press and social media, which began a tirade to know the real rebel Wilson. On May 18, 2015, Wilson addressed the rumors via Twitter, joking, "Oh my god, I'm actually an 100-year-old mermaid, formerly known as CC Chalice. Thanks, shady Australian press, for your tall poppy syndrome." In the aftermath, investigations into business and voting records did show that Wilson's legal name is actually Melanie Elizabeth Bounds. She's not 29 as previously claimed on her IMDb page, but actually 35, born March 2nd of 1980. Rebels fans maintained her lives weren't actually that abnormal or horrendous, with one Reddit user even pointing out that being 30 and Pitch Perfect isn't that strange, seeing as, quote, Anna Camp, Esther Dean, Adam Devine, etc. aren't that far behind her and were also playing college students as well. Ironically, Ben Platt was the only cast member who was 18 playing a 19-year-old. While some celebs are outed by former classmates, some like Constance Wu are outed by, well, their fans just not believing what they say about their age. Because when Fresh Off the Boat first came out and it gave Wu her big break, she pretended to be in her early 20s and even did interviews all like, "LOL, I'm playing a mom of teens and yet I'm so young," but her own beloved fans didn't buy it, especially upon the release of the movie Hustlers. It sparked rumors and theories online that she was faking her age. In February 2015 interview with Glamour, trying to prompt an age answer from the actress, Wu was asked about what her on-screen husband, Randall Park, who was 40, was like compared to her alleged 26. Constant Wu's response was to brazenly joke that he was immature while she was mature, and it made them feel like they were the same age. When the interviewer pressed further, suggesting Constance wasn't actually old enough to have birthed her on-screen kids, the actress countered that biologically she was. In an interview the following year, 2016, Vulture set things right. In it, Wu is asked whether she's actually 26 like she had been claiming, or as the media had been reporting, was she 34. Wu claimed she was 34 and explained not correcting anyone previously by saying, "I think originally on Wikipedia it listed my age incorrectly. There's a lot of ageism in the industry, so when people would talk about it, I just wouldn't correct them." While these two leading ladies lied downwards, some lie upwards about their age, like a young Lawrence Fishburne. He is the OG of lying about your age to nab a role actor. Lawrence was only 14 when he cold-faced lied to Francis Ford Coppola himself about being 16 to play the 17-year-old character Tyrone Clean Miller in the legendary 1976 film Apocalypse Now. Fishburne explained in 2013 interview he was not fooling producer Fred Roos, though who he says knew him from a different project he had done when he was younger. So needless to say, the casting team wasn't entirely sure if he looked as old as he claimed to be, so they needed an extra set of eyes. To quote Fishburne, "A young woman who was working in the offices, a secretary, got up and walked through the room," he said. "And as she was walking, Francis finally spoke up, and he just looked at her and said, 'Excuse me, you think this kid could be 18?' And whoever this woman was, she turned around, looked at me and went, 'Yeah.'" With the validation of an unaffiliated third party, Fishburne got the part, and although he was 14 when shooting began, he was 18 years old by the time the movie was released in theaters. However, his true age of 14 was actually confirmed to the entirety of cast during the filming of a specific scene where he had to talk about his love of Playboy magazines, and he fumbled through it. Caught aging himself down as the man who'd normally never fumble, that's Eminem. And there's quite a few age slip-ups from this rapper. Once on Howard Stern's radio show in 1999, Eminem claimed to be 24. However, he was actually 27. On some tracks from TES and MMLP, he says his age, but it's always 2 years less than what it actually is. That, and in TES, a Square One Stance lyric dropped is, "I'm 28, they gonna take you for they take me." Also, there's a video of Eminem celebrating his birthday on stage in 2002, and it says, "Happy 26th birthday." So a lot of confusion. But why did Eminem lie? Same reason as many celebrities, it's competition. There were a lot of young men in hip-hop when Eminem was pushing himself out there, and the internet was just getting big, so it's not like anyone was gonna fact check him, at least for not a long time. So Eminem often subtracted 2 to 4 years from his stage age, which he later admitted in an interview after it was found out because his mother released his birth certificate as part of that period of time where she was harassing him like crazy. So Jerry Halliwell lied due to competitive reasons as well, as she was part of the girl group the Spice Girls during an era of utter girl group competition. Jerry was known as Ginger Spice and told the press she was 21 fun to match herself up with the ages of her bandmates and not throw off the public perception of, women being perceived as old in the industry earlier than anyone else. However, it was her own homegirl who did her in. A fellow band member, Victoria, aka Posh Spice, let slip an interview. Halliwell is older than 21, but never specified how much older, which sent the internet into a frenzy of speculation and gossip. At Fuel to the Fire, Melanie Brown has also claimed since Halliwell has lied about her age for decades and said no one knows how old she is. She even revealed her friend always kept her passport close to her chest when they were on tour as the Spice Girls. Scary Spice admitted she doesn't believe Ginger Spice was born in 1972, despite even celebrating her 50th birthday with her celebrity friend. Speaking of pop queens lying about their age, one for my Irish viewers, Nadine Cole. So, the Girls Aloud band member was on a show called Pop Stars, where she lied about her age in order to compete in the talent show. In a hilarious clip, it was revealed that Nadine had been lying about her age and was just 16, which is 2 years younger than the minimum age requirement of 18 for that Irish show. So the clip shows her panicking on camera when confronted about her age. She starts digging through her purse for a birth certificate or a passport she knows she won't find. She starts awkwardly calling her mom, asking where her passport is. It's a bit of social media history in Ireland apparently, and highly memed in reference there as well. Nadine Cole was disqualified from the competition and sent back home to Derry, but Lewis Walsh later encouraged her to enter the UK version of the show, Pop Stars The Rivals, the following year, and she actually has since had a career. Nicola Colin actually accredited the iconic clip to how she learned how to do her Derry girl's accent while in an interview with Graham Norton. To quote Sandra Bullock, "After a while, you have no idea how old you are because you've lied so many times." She said that back in an interview with Detour in 1993, but before that interview and after, the actress has lied about her age almost endlessly. Old or younger really doesn't matter to Sandy, who uses lying about her age and keeping its true number a secret as a tactic to land roles that she feels she truly desires. So Bullock confessed in 1992 that she lied about her age to get cast in The Love Potion No. 9. The part of the biologist Diane Farrow called for a 29-year-old actress, but she was actually younger at the time. The multi-award winning actor was told by Barbara Walters that it would be wise to tell a white lie, so she convinced everyone she was 29 to get the role. Laverne Cox opened up about her struggle with aging in a similar fashion. The actress has formally claimed to be born in 1982, when it was actually 1972. Now reminder, Laverne did start off in the drag world, where it's actually really normal for performers to shave off like 10 years or more, but she carried on lying about her age after having a man break up with her when she was 28 for being too old. Worried about castability and desirability, Laverne lied about her age as she made her big break in Orange is the New Black, a show that would accidentally help reveal her true age. See, Laverne's twin brother plays her character pre-gender transition in the show, and when fans went to Google if that fact was true, yo, that's so cool, they find his IMDb, which has his real age listed. And seeing as Laverne and her brother are fraternal twins, the fact that her age was listed 10 years after his on IMDb didn't make much sense. So then on the Ellen show, she's called out and she says, IMDb found out my real age, so it started appearing places, and it was freaking me out. I was having such anxiety, so I started talking to my therapist about it. I started unpacking all the stories I had about being older, and the stories were all like, I wasn't hireable, I wasn't dateable, I wasn't effable, and then I just worked through all that. On a somewhat funnier note, Chris Brown's age was revealed when he was trying to win love from the astrology girlies, so he posted his full astro circle chart to his Instagram story. Brown, however, is only smart enough to remove his birth date from his birth chart, meaning one eagle-eye Instagram user who studied astrology called him out in the comments, writing, if this chart is true, hey Chris Brown, you're 4 years older than what you actually claim. Turns out his Saturn was in the late degree of Scorpio, and his Pluto was in an early degree of Scorpion. Add that together, and his stars were in Liar Liar Pants on Fire. So Chris Brown's birthday was revealed to be May 1985, not 89, and as a result he blocked the first astrologer to call him out in the comments and then deleted all of his star charts and refuses to address this. Mariah Carey, for her part, told Complex in 2016 she just doesn't even believe in having a birthday. Mariah Carey's true birth year has long been debated in the press and social media, with evidence supporting both 1969 and 1970 as the correct answer. With that little difference, it really doesn't matter, and it seems Mariah shares my opinion, as she herself is quoted to have said she really just wants to remain eternally oblivious to age. To quote her, I was just dropped here. It was a fairyland experience, she said in 2016. 3 years later, the singer maintained that she doesn't believe in aging, saying to an interview, I don't get this 10-year challenge. Time is not something I acknowledge. She also captioned 2 similar photos of herself in January 2019 after a social media transformation went viral, picture taken at some point prior to today.
Stacey Dash is a face you might recognize from the hit film Clueless. ridiculous, she managed to make her career crash and burn in a fashion that is almost impressive. Dash starred as the sassy, fashionable best friend to Cher in the 1995 film and was well loved by fans of the film. She did a great performance. That is her most notable role, but she had many other film and TV credits around this time. Some highlights from the fall of Stacey Dash include her saying that Black History Month shouldn't be a thing and that transgender people should go to the washroom in bushes in 2016, referring to other actors inappropriately when they try and speak up against racial injustices. That just happens randomly. She also claimed feminism is ruining men. She kind of blacklisted herself with every action she has committed in recent years. Though she has apologized for things she has said and done in the past, she is still not getting much work in Hollywood. Rebecca Ferguson has just given a killer performance in the second Dune film, and while on the press tour, she might have also killed another actor's career if she had revealed their name. Rebecca Ferguson is one of the internet's favorite actresses right now for good reasons. She seems very grounded, smart, sweet, and just is a really good actress. So when she dropped in a recent interview that she had once been screamed at on set by an unnamed former co-star, people were quick to start combing through her films in search of the culprit. People were taking this very seriously, as Rebecca also said the encounter made her cry. The leading theory is that it was Hugh Grant that had screamed at her. People would back this theory up online with past stories from his co-stars and people who worked on set with him about how he was rude and difficult. That actually caused him to not get fully blacklisted when he was younger, but it did make him lose out on a couple roles. He did claim that the movie Did You Hear About the Morgans caused opportunities to dry up for him, claiming that Hollywood gave me up because I made such a massive turkey with that film with Sarah Jessica Parker. Whether I wanted to or not after that, the days of being a very well-paid leading man were suddenly gone overnight. It's unclear if he was the one who yelled at Ferguson, but he did for sure yell at a woman while working on the set of the movie Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Star of the 1930s, Mae West was an absolute bombshell of the era. She was known for her suggestive performances and outfits and overall bold depictions of being a woman and the female body. She was blacklisted by a pretty unexpected co-star, the Production Code Administration, or PCA. The PCA was created to censor media to uphold strict moral guidelines. It was the 30s after all. It was used to adjust American media, and that is where Mae West operated, due to her performances always having a hint of something they shouldn't. According to the PCA, many of them were censored. She was censored so many times that it was easier for a studio to just not hire the star in the first place. She was actually temporarily banned from the screen at one point. She did find a few roles through the 1940s, but from 1943 to 1960, there was little work for her on screen. It was the 1960s and 70s that took her off that blacklist again, and she made a few more films before passing in 1980. Thora Birch made a name for herself in the 1993 film Hocus Pocus as young Danny Dennison. She then began starring in various TV shows and movies and even on Broadway. But it was a 2010 Broadway contract that would cause her to lose everything. While working on the 2010 off-Broadway revival of Dracula, Birch's father allegedly threatened a castmate with physical harm, and it resulted in her being fired and not rehired for a while. The actor that was threatened remains unnamed to this day, but allegedly was involved in a scene with Birch in which he was directed to rub her back. According to Birch's father, Birch was uncomfortable with this, and the threat was meant to convey that. The director did not agree with the father's behavior, and Birch was of course fired. This isn't the only reason why Birch rarely worked though. According to the American Beauty star, she spent some time in her youth upset and upsetting others intentionally. Vanessa Marquez was known for various film credits, but most of her fame came from the TV show ER, in which Marquez starred alongside George Clooney. Marquez would actually go on to accuse Clooney of having a hand in blacklisting Vanessa from ER and Hollywood in general. Vanessa was in the TV show for 3 seasons before being let go and written off. It was unclear why, but Vanessa soon shared that George Clooney and other actors on the show had acted inappropriately towards her on the TV show set. Not saying that Clooney was the one doing it, she just named him and said that she experienced bad behavior every day while working on the show. Vanessa says she complained to someone about the on-set inappropriate actions and claims that that was the reason why she was taken off the show. So she said she was fired for complaining. George Clooney has directly acknowledged the accusations. In 2017, he said he had nothing to do with Vanessa being blacklisted and that he actually didn't even realize she was. Linda Fiorentino was at the beginning of her Hollywood journey and things looked promising. She had a considerable amount of credits in the 90s and early 2000s, including a role in the Men in Black movies. But now she has seemed to disappear and be considered a former actress. The reason for this sudden change might have had something to do with Dogma star Kevin Smith, who also wrote and directed that film. Smith went on record and destroyed Linda's reputation. She had been labeled difficult to work with, among other things. Nowadays, many people actually disagree with these claims claims and consider her to have been very hardworking and talented. At the time though, she just didn't have enough star power to come back from the claims set against her. Charlie Sheen was once on top of the world, even reported to have been paid just under $2 million per episode while starring in the show 2.5 Men, but he soon was blacklisted and pushed out of Hollywood, partly because of his own actions, but also former co-star and ex-wife Denise Richards accused Sheen of bad behavior, and that only added more reason to keep the man out of the game. In the year 2000, Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen met on the set of Good Advice and then began a serious relationship the next year after Richards guest starred on Spin City. The pair would end up getting married and having 2 kids, but a few years later, in early 2006, Richards ended up filing for divorce, and a few months after that, taking out a restraining order against her former husband. The order required Sheen to stay 300 yards away from Richards, and he could only see their children if he was supervised. The reason Richards felt she needed the order was because she claimed that Sheen had spoken violently towards her and was rough with her physically. Sheen would later go on to be accused of similar things by other women he went on to date and marry. The actor did other things all by himself though that ended up getting him blacklisted. He used substances that are not legal and would behave poorly on sets and more. The actor had said in 2018 that he is trying to turn things around. Kevin Spacey is mainly known for his starring role on the TV show House of Cards, but like a real House of Cards, once the public caught wind of past actions, everything came crashing down. 2017 was the year of Spacey's fall from grace. Anthony Rapp, who you might recognize from the movie Rent or the TV series Star Trek Discovery, accused Spacey of acting inappropriately towards him when he was underage. The incident would have happened a few decades before 2017. Spacey was of course fired from the show House of Cards very soon after the news was released, and the show continued on for one more season without him. Rapp was not the only actor that accused Spacey of the inappropriate behavior. Soon more actors were coming forward with stories, and Spacey went to court. He was ultimately found not guilty, but the damage to his career had already been done and the actor was blacklisted. Sandra Locke was a big star in the late 60s, early 70s, and just didn't act but also directed too. She starred in films alongside Clint Eastwood, and the pair really hit it off, dating for quite a while. They were the it couple, starring in films like The Outlaw Josie Wales and Every Which Way But Loose. Unfortunately, the pair eventually broke up, and it was disastrous for Locke's career. They broke up in 1989, but it kind of dragged on for a few years. Eastwood had more overall star power and connections to major Hollywood elites than Locke did, or even if they were both connected to someone, it's assumed that the person would then take Eastwood's side instead of hers. Soon, Locke wasn't getting much work and was essentially blacklisted from Hollywood. While it has never been confirmed technically, many people, including Locke, believe that her blacklisting was because of Eastwood, that he used his power and connections to effectively end her career, because after the breakup, her working life went up in flames and his was completely fine. Isaiah Washington had all the potential to make it big. He was starring in a main role on an incredibly popular TV show, Dr. Preston Burke on Grey's Anatomy. He had a number of film credits under his belt before that and was just an all-around good guy, until he threw it all away. According to the book by Lynette Rice, How to Save a Life, The Inside Story of Grey's Anatomy, a fight between Washington and McDreamy, or Patrick Dempsey, broke out on set and caused the domino effect that led to Washington's firing and blacklisting from Hollywood. According to interviews in the book, one of the men was late to set one day, so the next day the other decided to get payback and be late instead. Tensions got high, and soon the two men were brawling in studio. Washington apparently pushed Dempsey up against a wall and began shouting in his face, and it wasn't until Washington brought the F word that is bad, that is used to describe gay people, that everything stopped. The word was used in context of another actor in the show who was known to be gay, so really bad. Washington ended up apologizing, but then used the word again at the Golden Globes, and very publicly in an interview, and that was kind of the moment that cemented everything. He was gone. Other Grey's Anatomy actors condemned his behavior, and soon Washington wasn't seen much in popular media anymore.
Starting off, we have Daphne Joy. Now, after Diddy's place got raided, rapper 50 Cent, real name Curtis Jackson III, responded on Twitter saying, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." Now, while 50 Cent was not named in the lawsuit against Combs, a woman identified as Daphne Joy, who shares a child with 50 Cent, was named in the suit. In a statement posted on Instagram, Joy responded to 50 Cent saying, "Everything is a joke until our safety is compromised, which is happening right now." Now, Joy went on to accuse 50 Cent of physically mistreating mistreating her and said, "You have broken our hearts for the last and final time." Next up is Stevie J. In addition to Joy, another celebrity named in the suit, Stevie J, Stephen Aaron Jordan, also responded to 50 Cent on social media. Stevie J hit back at 50 Cent on Instagram and said, "Since it's entertainment, let me beat the out of you on TV or something." Now it's alleged that the Grammy winner Stevie J, Diddy's longtime collaborator, recruited and participated in Combs' freak-offs in his amended complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York, though it does not name Stevie J as a defendant. Now Diddy is accused of instructing Stevie J to teach him the type of sex workers to solicit and the way to solicit them. It's alleged that Stevie J sent threatening messages when the plaintiff, Rodney Jones, publicly asked Combs to pay him for his work on Combs' The Love album. The complaint also says that Combs used his connection to Stevie J, Rodney's idol, to pressure Rodney into being intimate. "I've never seen my man do anything foul like they talking about. I've never seen it. I've known him for 29 years, Stevie J told TMZ earlier this month. Moving on to Young Miami. Young Miami, a member of City Girls, is mentioned in Jones's amended complaint filed in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York. Now she is not a defendant, nor is she accused misconduct. She is listed as being a part of Combs' operation and accused of bringing Diddy illegal substances on a private jet. The complaint says she was retained on a monthly stipend as one of sex workers, and it also alleges that her cousin, named as Jane Doe 1, took advantage of Rodney. Now since the raid, she has shared numerous posts on social media, but many of the posts are promoting a new song that she is releasing. Aaron Hall, an R&B singer who was part of the group Guy, was named as a defendant in a complaint filed against Diddy last November in the New York Supreme Court ahead of the expiration date for New York's Adult Survivors Act, which provide a one-year window in which people could bring cases of SA outside the typical statute of limitations. The plaintiff, who is named Lisa Gardner, accuses Combs and Aaron Hall of SAing her and her friend in Aaron's apartment after a music industry event by MCA Records in 1990. She says Combs coerced her into being intimate with him and that afterward, Aaron barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced her to be intimate with him too. The plaintiff also alleges that Combs found her at her home and choked her until she passed out, as he was worried his girlfriend would find out about the incident, the complaint says. Now let's talk about Cuba Gooding Jr. An amended complaint filed in March in the U.S. District Court of Southern District New York by Rodney Jones lists Cuba Gooding Jr. as a defendant. Now Rodney accuses Cuba of harassment and SA. Specifically, Rodney accuses Combs of grooming him to pass him off to Cuba. Now the two were left alone in a makeshift studio on a yacht rented by Combs, according to the complaint. There, Gooding began inappropriately touching Rodney. Now it's to be known that the actor previously pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor count of forcibly touching, so this incident being real isn't shocking. Now we have Lucian Grange. The CEO of Universal Music Group and father-in-law to Sophia Richie, Lucian Grange is also listed as a defendant in Rodney's amended complaint. He's accused of aiding and abetting Combs, specifically in racketeering and trafficking. Rodney says that as CEO, Lucian had a duty to ensure the financial support they provided to Sean Combs and Love Records was not being used for drugs, and laced alcohol. Now attorneys for Grange have filed a motion to dismiss, in which they call the accusations offensively false. In a sworn statement to the court, Grange called the accusations completely untrue and absurd, and said he plans to pursue both plaintiffs and his counsel for having made such false accusations. Now Grange also points to the fact that he is the CEO of a multinational public company, and that he's not involved in day-to-day operation of the company's thousands of agreements. Now in a statement to Business Insider, Grange's attorney Donald S. Zarkin called the complaint offensively reckless. The plaintiff has now attempted to amend his claims against Sir Lucian, removing the original set of outrageous falsehoods related to Sir Lucian, replacing them with wholly contradictory new falsehoods that are equally absurd, he said. Not only will we demonstrate the offensive falsity of these claims, but we will seek recovery of every penny of cost and damage caused by their assertion. Moving on to Justin Dior Combs. Justin Dior Combs, Diddy's 30-year-old son, is a defendant in Rodney's amended complaint. In a wide-range list of allegations, Rodney accuses Justin Combs of soliciting workers, as well as engaging in freak-offs. He also says the younger and older Combs were the only two people present in the room when G, a friend of his, was shot at a recording studio, implying that one of them shot G. Now, Justin Combs was at Diddy's Los Angeles home when it was raided by feds and was seen handcuffed on the lawn outside, though he was not arrested. Justin Combs' lawyer said that the complaint was utterly bonkers on his radio show Beyond the Legal Limit. It's clearly written in an effort to get as much publicity as possible, not only for the case, but for the lawyer whose name I don't even remember, literally some maniac, he said. Then there's Prince Harry. Now, Diddy is said to have drawn guests to his infamous parties through his VIP associations with celebrities, such as famous athletes, political figures, artists, musicians, and international dignitaries like British Royal Prince Harry, according to the legal notice. Now, there's no suggestion of any wrongdoing by the prince, and his name is only mentioned once in the documents as an example of a well-known celebrity associate of Combs. Now, both Harry and his brother Prince William were pictured with Combs and Kanye West in 2007 after the musicians performed in the Concert for Diana at Wembley Stadium. So to reiterate, Harry has not been accused of anything. Next up are the anonymous celebrities. While there are anonymous or redacted celebrities named in the suit, it's not too difficult to figure out who they are. While Chris Brown isn't named specifically in court documents, he's referenced as one of two redacted figures, redacted R&B singer, who is specifically alleged to have been in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with girls. Now, another clue that points to it being Chris is the footnote at the bottom of the same page, which reads, a Grammy Award-winning R&B singer who had trouble with law enforcement after assaulting a Belgian billionaire. Then, like Chris, while Meek Mill wasn't named specifically in court documents, he's referenced as one of the two redacted rapper figures who was specifically and allegedly in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with girls and f***ers. Now, another clue that points to it being Meek is in the footnote at the bottom of the same page, which reads, he is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. And lastly, we have Bishop T.D. Jakes. While the bishop was not alleged to have done anything illegal per court documents, he was named as one of the people Diddy allegedly intended to leverage a relationship with in order to soften the impact on his public image of Casey Venture's lawsuit. Now, Diddy and the bishop joined forces back in 2021 for an ongoing religious series entitled Kingdom Culture with T.D. Jakes. In 2022, the two were spotted together in photographs at Diddy's 53rd birthday party, which prompted an outcry and criticism on social media about the relationship between religious leaders and music figures. In late 2023, the bishop would come under fire again on social media after an unfounded report claimed that he was engaging in activity with men at Diddy's parties. Now, he addressed the Diddy rumors once in a December 2022 comment from his representatives, and again during a Christmas Eve sermon, during which he let folks know that they can log off the online broadcast of the service if they came to hear him address a lie.
Number 10. Justin and Hailey Bieber. Before becoming husband and wife, Justin and Hailey were slowly building up their careers as a musician and a model respectively. They met while Justin was still dating fellow pop musician and former Disney star Selena Gomez, and struck up a secret romance. As Justin and Selena were constantly on and off again, Hailey and Justin became closer and closer with each subsequent split, being friends at first, but eventually they became an official item in 2018. While they were both fairly famous before becoming official following their marriage, it's arguable that they've risen to a new level of success and recognition, which means people are gonna hate them. Justin was becoming one of the most replayed artists around the world, and Hailey has been working hard in the fashion industry, both on stage and behind a sewing machine. While their relationship may be true love, the fame and recognition that come with it, that come with their celebrity status, will certainly be driving the relationship for the foreseeable future. Number 9. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Despite only being back together for like maybe 2 years, these two have received a ton of online hate, but the way that they behave together on the red carpet doesn't really help the situation. There's a ton of footage from red carpet events and award shows where the couple seem to be having some kind of a heated argument. While attending the premiere of J.Lo's movie The Mother, the couple were photographed and filmed on the red carpet having a very heated discussion that seemed like it was a fight, as the moment cameras flashed, they popped back into smile mode. However, according to a lip-reading expert, these two almost never fight, but they have the most sour faces when they're trying to kid around. The expert broke down this specific exchange, claiming that Jen simply simply asked Ben how she looked, and he responded with, "You look fine." And apparently the rest of the argument was just them being cute, with Ben constantly making sure that she was comfortable and asking her if she wants him closer, to which she said yes please. This is just an example of a couple who seem to be mad on camera and the world is convinced that that's true, but in all honesty they are both just weirdos with very expressive faces. Number 8, MGK and Megan Fox. Megan and Machine first met on the set of Midnight in Switchgrass. For anyone who is unaware, MGK has been slowly making a move to the silver screen, and while it might be in smaller roles, his performances have been anything but. During production of this film, it was forced to shut down due to it being, March in 2020. Need I go on? While everyone flew home, these two decided to keep in touch, apparently being seen walking together only 2 months after the film was shut down. The slew of evidence started to arrive on Instagram that their relationship has been chronicalized since the very beginning for all of us to enjoy, and MGK seems to be a good BF for the most part, so any hate that they're getting really is not warranted. This dude painted nails with Drew Barrymore. He's a good guy. Number 7, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Travis and Taylor have been the internet's favorite couple after Travis was spotted attending one of Taylor's Era Tour shows and were solidified when she attended a Kansas Chiefs game, and then 10 more. Taylor has a long list of boyfriends that have either been another step in her journey or the inspiration for an absolute bop. So far, Travis and Taylor are still together, but it took a few weeks of them being together before any legitimate information came to be. Before the relationship was confirmed, it wasn't like they were hiding anything. For instance, only 2 weeks after the rumor started circulating, Taylor paid for an entire restaurant's food just so she could kick them out and keep the restaurant for herself. She was also spotted having a great time at various Chiefs games with Travis's mom, and then left with Travis himself. As the weeks have gone by, she's appeared less and less at his football games, and so far they have stayed out of the news, apart from some stories about Taylor and Selena Gomez having a good time out in the city. But the internet continues to debate of, are these people a good combination? Will this relationship result in a new song at some point in Taylor's life? Who knows, really? The last serious relationship Taylor was in was like 6 years long, and so far it's looking like this might be the case for Travis. He seems like a decent dude, and only someone who knows what they want, and only someone who knows what they're getting into would ever date Taylor Swift. This will either end in marriage and a family, or a Grammy nomination. Number 6, Aaron and Sam Taylor Johnson. Many viewers will recognize Aaron's face. He's been the leading man in several movies over the years, and a strong supporting actor as well, showcased in his recent role as Tangerine in Bullet Train. I can't say the title. In his recent role as Tangerine in the Brad Pitt movie with the title I can't say. In 2009, when he was just 19, Aaron played legendary musician John Lennon in a biopic called Nowhere Boy. The film told the story of a young John Lennon pre-Beatles fame during his adolescence, with a focus on his relationship with his family and his journey to becoming a Beatle. Now, the film was directed by a woman named Samantha Taylor Wood, who was 42 at the time. Samantha is a producer and director, best known for her 2015 romantic thriller 50 Shades of Grey. Call it romantic. It would appear that Aaron's performance as John, particularly the steamy sections, caught her attention in quite a few ways, and the pair started seeing each other on the down low. 2 years later, they got married, and they now share each other's last name, Taylor Johnson, and currently live with their 4 kids in Los Angeles. Happy ending to a happy list. Number 5, Avril Lavigne and Tyga. Now, chill out, what you yelling for? Avril's single now, y'all. The skater boy singer was dating fellow musician Tyga since being spotted together at a Paris fashion show in March of this year, when she had just broken up with her boo Mod Sun, sounds like an anime villain, and as many do, she decided to jet off to France to seek some comfort. Tyga was also in a similar boat, having split with his ex, Black China, and seeking a similar solace in the fashion world. Their relationship was heavily publicized by themselves, and they were constantly posting pictures and videos of themselves cuddling and just, being close. Recently, the couple decided to call it quits though, but are apparently still friends and talk behind the scenes. Tyga even gifted Avril Lavigne an $80,000 necklace earlier this year. No reason in particular, he just did it. This dude loved her no matter how much it cost, so it's nice to know that they won't be jamming their wealth and PDA down people's throats anymore. Or will they? We shall see. Number 4, Kendall Jenner and Bad Bunny. Earlier this year, the musician known as Bad Bunny was spotted on a night out with his boo-boo, Kendall Jenner. the youngest of the Kardashian clan. The two were seen together having a tiff at a Lakers game of all places because they were sitting courtside wearing the skin of their enemies on their boots, aka snakeskin. While the game was mostly filled with smiles and joy, there was a moment before the game got a little bit too heated where it looks like the couple might not be as close as we thought. In a short clip taken from the game, Bad Bunny leans in close to Kendall and whispers something that makes her face go from, "Ooh, I love basketball," to, "This is not the time or place." Now, at first the speculation was that there was just an uncomfortable question being asked and they moved on, but the way that Bunny's mouth is shaped is making many people speculate that he may have just had bad breath and Kendall was getting a whiff of it. The rest of the game was fine and they had a good time, but their faces were never close together again. The internet just went nuts about that one. Number 3, Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner. Timothy is slowly building his acting repertoire in Hollywood, and so far it seems to be going really well. He starred as the lead in Dune, and he is going to be in the Willy Wonka movie coming out in like a week, and I'm very excited to see that. It was also recently announced that he is seeing Kylie Jenner basically every week. While the announcement of them being a couple is a little bit out of nowhere and it hasn't been like solidly confirmed, the fact is that Kylie has been co-parenting her 2 kids with Travis Scott, and he did not appreciate the secret. He said that he felt blindsided by the announcement but respects their decisions to move on romantic. This relationship isn't all that recent, however, as it was reported that the two may have shared a private moment during her marriage to Scott. Neither party have confirmed or denied those rumors because, you know, they're rumors, but just seeing these two in a picture together makes us think there's gotta be something, you know, maybe there's something there. They're cute. Number 2, Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater. Pop star and Broadway giant are set to be in a film adaptation of the Broadway hit Wicked, following the story of the Wicked Witch before the events of The Wizard of Oz. Ariana plays Glinda the Good, and Slater is Bach, the main love interest of the Wicked Witch. Now, it's ironic that Ariana is the good witch in this movie because she appears to have stolen another woman's man. Ethan was married to a woman named Lily J since 2008, and they even welcomed their first child together in 2022. Apparently, Ariana and Ethan fell in love on set and started dating each other behind the scenes. However, an on-set insider shared that information to Slater's wife, who was furious. I wonder why. While the couple have agreed to raise their kid as co-parents, Ethan officially filed for a divorce in July of this year, and the internet will not let it go. And at number 1, Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. A lot can be said about these people, so I'll keep it brief. Cheating rumors and dating scandals have followed this couple through their entire relationship. Since the first day they got together, people were convinced that they were in an open relationship, they'd been cheating on each other, just something. And it turns out that that is basically 100% true. Ahead of the release of her book, Worthy, Jada sat down with People magazine to share some inside information, which the most revealing of which was that Will Smith has actually been separated from her for like 7 years. Despite being a happy couple on the outside, the truth is they decided to go their separate ways, emotionally speaking, a long time ago. Since 2016, Jada and Will have just been living in the same house and appearing on red carpet events together, but behind the scenes they just don't talk or do things. Considering the massive size of Will's house, it's easy to imagine Jada just jamming herself in a corner and being like, "This is my spot." She continued to say that she felt pressured into being with Will because it was mainly his idea to get together in the first place, and 2 kids and 1 marriage later, it would appear that Jada finally came to her senses, and I'm really hoping they split up at some point soon, because I don't like that lady.
Starting off, we have Ariana Grande. Singer, songwriter, and actress Ariana Grande married Dalton Gomez in May 2021, but just after 2 years of marriage, Ariana and Dalton called it quits. In July 2023, a source told People that the pair separated earlier in the year and have been quietly and lovingly working on their friendship since. Now, just days before their split was announced, Ariana was seen without her engagement ring and her wedding band. Ariana officially filed for divorce from Dalton in September 2023, with him filing a response immediately following. But it has been revealed that the reason for the divorce was that Ariana cheated on Dalton with her Wicked co-star, Ethan Slater. But here's the thing, Ethan was also married and had a child. His now ex-wife Lily, who's since been openly critical of Ari, apparently visited Ethan on the Wicked set in April with their infant son. The following month, Ethan gushed about her in a Mother's Day Instagram post, but by July 26, he had officially filed for divorce. Now, their timeline is a little more messy, but there was definitely some infidelity involved here. Now, this has had the internet up in arms about Ariana now dating SpongeBob, as Ethan played him in the live-action musical. Up next is Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson has cheated on Khloe Kardashian many times, so here's a brief synopsis of their relationship. In 2016, Khloe and Tristan started dating, and in spring of 2018, Khloe and Tristan were getting ready to welcome their first child together when photos and videos were released of him kissing other women. A couple days after the reports came out, Khloe welcomed their daughter True, but then TMZ then posted a video from earlier in October 2017 that appeared to show Tristan kissing 2 other women at a hookah lounge. More cheating allegations surfaced from there, including in January 2019 when it was revealed that Tristan had kissed Kylie Jenner's close friend, Jordan Woods. It was then confirmed that Tristan and Khloe were dating again in August 2020, and they called it quits again in June 2021. Now, in December 2021, news broke that Tristan was involved in a paternity suit with personal trainer Mara Lee Nichols, and in January 2022, he revealed he was the father. Now, in July that year, multiple sources confirmed that Khloe and Tristan were expecting another child with the help of a surrogate. Now, the surrogate was already pregnant with the child when the news broke of Tristan's paternity scandal. Now, they kept the pregnancy a secret as long as they could to protect Khloe, and after the child was born, it seems like they are co-parenting but not together. Khloe gave him so many chances and he took advantage of that, and I truly hope that she doesn't give him another one, because at this point, it's just sad. On to Adam Levine. In 2012, Adam Levine began dating Behati Prinsloo, and they married in 2014, and in September 2022, it was reported that they were expecting their 3rd child together. But shortly after, Instagram model Sumner Stroh posted a TikTok video claiming that she had an affair with Adam that lasted for about a year. Screenshots and video recordings were used as proof, and in one screenshot, Adam was seen asking for permission to use her first name for his unborn child, which is just insane. Now, Adam denied cheating, but from the screenshots of the messages going around, it's pretty clear that he was. The day after the allegations, Adam took to Instagram to say that he messed up, he didn't have an affair, but that he crossed a line. Since then, 2 additional women, Alison Rosef and Markea, later came forward with screenshots of flirty messages the singer had sent them, and a 3rd woman, his former yoga teacher, accused him of texting her that he wanted to spend the day with her naked. Now, a 4th woman came out as well, and she told the Daily Mail that he would like and comment on her fitness stories, usually about her having the best butt in town. Now, this story was everywhere, and the whole internet turned against Adam. Then there's Ned Fulmer. One of the members of the internet group The Try Guys was exposed for cheating on his wife in late 2022. Ned Fulmer was the I love my wife guy, but in September 2022, he was exposed as a cheater. TikTokers posted photo evidence of what appeared to be Ned kissing one of his producers, Alex Herring. A fan also posted an Instagram photo with her and Ned, captioning it that she saw Ned and Alex together at a Harry Styles concert at the beginning of September. Rumors and proof were gathered, and later near the end of September, Ned confirmed that he had cheated on his wife, publicly apologized, and then got kicked out of the Try Guys. Now, the affair had been going on for a while, as after all of this was exposed, another TikToker came forward saying that she spotted Ned kissing another woman and that she had some videos and photos of them. She said she messaged Ned's wife Ariel to make her aware, but Ariel never saw the messages. Let's talk about Gerard Piqué. In June 2022, it was reported that Shakira had recently dumped her partner of more than a decade, Gerard Piqué, after she caught him with another woman. The singer and the soccer star, who share 2 sons, soon confirmed their split, though they kept mum on the infidelity allegations. Now, that changed in January 2023 though, when Shakira released a diss track that included lyrics taking shot at Gerard and his new girlfriend, who's 12 years younger than him. "You're acting so weird, I don't even recognize you. I'm worth 2 22-year-olds, Shakira sings. Now, she then went on to insult his intelligence, but there is more. Reports also surfaced claiming Shakira was clued into the cheating because she returned home after a trip to discover that someone had eaten some of the jam she kept in the fridge in the home she shared with Gerard. He and their sons all hated jam, so it had to be someone else who ate it, and that was the girl he cheated on her with. Now, that's a pretty good way to find out that someone is cheating on you. All I gotta say is iconic. Moving on to Amy Robach and TJ Holmes. Amy Robach and TJ Holmes were co-hosts of Good Morning America 3, What You Need to Know, and they had worked together since TJ joined the show in the year 2020. Now, at the end of 2022, the Daily Mail published photos of the co-workers taken across across several outings, from getting drinks at a New York City bar to loading up a car at a cottage upstate. It was confirmed that they were cheating on their significant others. Now, neither of the broadcasters immediately addressed the photos or revealed whether they had split from their respective spouses. Now, TJ had been married to his wife for 12 years, and Amy was married to her husband for 12 years as well. Now, in January 2023, the couple decided to walk away from their positions as co-anchors after being caught in their affair scandal. Interestingly enough though, in December 2023, it was reported that their former spouses were dating each other. Now, that is just a strange twist to this story. Now we have Tom Sandoval. Us confirmed in March 2023 that Tom and Ariana Madix split after nearly 10 years together after he cheated with their Vanderpump Rules co-star Raquel Leviss. Apparently, Ariana learned about the affair when Tom and his band performed one of his new music singles live. Tom and Raquel visited his hometown of St. Louis in December 2022, but not to the knowledge of Ariana. Tom reportedly wanted to bring Raquel around his friends and family, though some declined to spend time with them and thought that the situation was inappropriate. He then posted an apology to his Instagram page saying, "I want to first and foremost apologize to everyone I've hurt through this process. Most of all, I want to apologize to Ariana. I made mistakes, I was selfish, and made reckless decisions that hurt somebody I love. No one deserves to feel that pain so traumatically and publicly. I can only imagine how devastating this has been for Ariana and everyone around us. I feel really horrible about that. My biggest regret is I dishonored Ariana. I never meant to disappoint so many people, including our loving families and friends." Afterwards, there was the explosive Vanderpump Rules reunion, and it was just a big, huge yelling match. Now we have David Letterman. Late night show host David Letterman admitted to having an affair during a taping of Late Night. David had only been married to his wife for 6 months and together for over 20 years when he admitted to being intimate with women who worked with him on air, specifically his longtime assistant Stephanie Burkett. The affair came to light when Stephanie's boyfriend Joe Halderman, a producer at CBS, allegedly tried to extort David for $2 million in exchange for his silence. David got ahead of him though, setting up a sting with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, which resulted in Joe's arrest. CBS issued a statement regarding the investigation and David's decision to speak out on the show, saying Mr. Letterman addressed the issue during the show's broadcast last night, and we believe his comments speak for themselves. Now, to this day, David is still married to his wife. Next up is Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner first met on the set of the 2000 movie Pearl Harbor, but were in separate relationships at the time. Ben was engaged to Jennifer Lopez, and they were supposed to be married in 2003, but in 2004 they called off their engagement. Now, Jennifer Garner was married to Scott Foley for 4 years, who she divorced in 2003. The pair then started a relationship and got married in 2005. They had 3 children and a perfect family until their nanny, Christine Azoyan, claimed that she and Ben had an affair. In 2015, sources told Page 6, amid reports of Ben's gambling and alleged cheating with other women, that the pair had drifted apart and had been in professional therapy for years. Now, their split was announced a day after their 10th wedding anniversary, and they finalized their divorce in 2018, but remain on good terms. Now, in a conversation with Vanity Fair, Jennifer had confirmed Ben's affair with the nanny. And lastly, we have Kristen Stewart. In 2012, photos of Kristen Stewart kissing Rupert Sanders, the director of her movie Snow White and the Huntsman, were released and caused a frenzy. Now, at the time, she was famously in a relationship with her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson, while Rupert was married to his wife since 2002, model Liberty Ross. After the photos were released, both Kristen and Rupert released their own statements. Kristen said, "I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I've caused to those close to me and everyone this has affected. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob. I love him, I'm so sorry." Now, they broke up and got back together multiple times, but they broke up for good in May 2013. This broke the hearts of Twilight fans everywhere, and I can't imagine how Rob felt having to work with her still after all of this happened.
And at number 10, the college admissions scandal. In 2019, the world was shocked to learn that the government had spent years investigating university bribes. The investigation, called Operation Varsity Blues, uncovered that hundreds of parents had paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to ensure their child got into the best schools in America. Even more shocking, some of the parents involved were wealthy celebrities like Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin. Huffman admitted to paying $15,000 to up her daughter's SAT scores, issued a public apology, pled guilty, then served 11 days of a 2-week sentence. Lori was accused of paying $500,000 to get her daughters into USC, maintained her innocence, and in 2020 was sentenced to 2 months in prison, while her husband Massimo was sentenced to 5 months. And at number 9, Tristan Thompson cheats on Khloe Kardashian. Usually someone cheating wouldn't be a big enough deal to completely overload social media, but in the case of Tristan and Khloe, the cheating was so outrageous that people could not believe it was really happening. The first time Tristan was exposed for cheating, Khloe was 8 months pregnant with their child, and videos and photos showed him out clubbing with women, and even taking one back to his hotel room. But that was not all. The internet broke once again when it was reported that Tristan cheated on Khloe again, this time with her younger sister Kylie's best friend, Jordan Woods, who was basically a part of the family at that point. Sources said that the NBA star was seen cozying up to Jordan at a party where they made out and were all over each other. After that shocking and embarrassing scandal, Khloe not only dumped Tristan, but Kylie was forced to cut ties with her BFF. And at number 8, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, people have speculated that rich celebrities have private islands where they participate in things that normal people could not even think of. And in 2019, it was exposed that those theories were true, and a good portion of the world's elites had participated in disgusting and illegal conduct while on Jeffrey Epstein's island. During that investigation, we learned that Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Bill Gates had connections to this island and were documented as friends of Epstein's. The ties to the royal family were the most shocking, and the public was horrified to learn that Epstein and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, were so close to the royals, they actually vacationed at one of the Queen's private residences. As of now, Prince Andrew is being investigated in connection with Epstein, and he's been stripped from the royal family. And at number 7, Jussie Smollett. In 2019, Jussie Smollett claimed that he had been attacked on the streets of Chicago by white Trump supporters, who told him, quote, "This is mega country," put a noose around his neck, and poured a chemical substance on him. Social media was set on fire after the attack and pitted Democrats and Republicans against each other even more than they had been before, especially since the president at the time, Donald Trump, was deemed responsible for the incident. However, months later, it was reported that the entire thing was a lie, and he was never actually attacked like he claimed. Jussie was arrested and later charged by the Chicago Police Department for giving them false information. Jussie was then indicted on 16 felony charges, and in 2020 he was indicted on 6 more charges. He has been found guilty on all the charges, although he still claims he is not lying. And at number 6, Kylie Jenner's pregnancy. Nothing broke the internet quite like when Kylie Jenner posted a video to YouTube sharing that she had been pregnant for the last 9 months and kept it entirely secret. Not only was she pregnant, but her daughter Stormi was born before the release of the video. Rumors had been swirling that she was pregnant, and it seemed likely because Kylie stayed at home way more than usual during this time, clearly hiding something from the world. In an Instagram post, Kylie apologized for keeping everyone in the dark, but said that she wanted to keep her pregnancy to herself in order to truly enjoy that time. For her second pregnancy, Kylie did not keep it hidden and shared tons of photos and videos with fans. Some fans were even convinced that she had already given birth to her second child and was keeping it hidden because of the Astroworld tragedy. But after the recent birthday party of Stormi, where Kylie was seen incredibly pregnant, it's clear that she is still waiting to give birth, but it looks like it could be any day now. Halfway at number 5, Monica Lewinsky. The scandal involving Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky is one of the most shocking of all time, and it's still so interesting to the public that the scandal was outlined in the latest season of American Crime Story titled Impeachment. In 1998, it was exposed that the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, engaged in sexual relations with a White House intern. At the time, multiple other women also came forward to expose his predatory behavior was a pattern. At first, he strongly denied it, but then a woman named Linda Tripp exposed that it was a lie because she had taped Lewinsky talking about her affair with Clinton. After it was exposed that he was a liar and cheater, he was impeached for lying under oath. He was impeached by the House of Representatives but acquitted by the Senate, so he remained in office until his term ended. And at number 4, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson officially lost it in the eyes of the world in 2002 when he dangled his son over a balcony in Berlin, Germany. People were waiting below and were horrified thinking that Jackson could drop him. Michael later admitted it was a mistake in doing so, saying he was simply excited. He said in a statement after the incident, quote, "I got caught up in the excitement of the moment. I would never intentionally endanger the lives of my children. However, many did not accept this statement. Michael's close friend at the time, Uri Geller, condemned his actions, saying, quote, "I just would not put any child over a railing at such a height. I think it was a silly thing to do. He probably did it because he was overwhelmed emotionally by the fans." And at number 3, Martha Stewart. The queen of homemaking, Martha Stewart, shocked the world when she was sent to jail for insider trading. In 2002, it was announced that she was being investigated for selling off thousands of shares of a company called Clone Systems, because she learned the stock was going to be dropping drastically and didn't want to lose money in the market. She served 5 months in prison for her crime, but shockingly, her time in the slammer did not affect her career very much. Right after she got out, she was back to work, and now it's safe to say her reputation is completely healed following this incident. And at number 2, Tiger Woods. Golf is generally a game that's pretty boring in terms of scandals. The league of golf is generally very professional, with little to report about other than the results of tournaments. But that all changed when the king of golf, Tiger Woods' private relationship was put on display, and we were all shocked about who he really was behind closed doors. In November of 2009, the National Enquirer exposed that he'd been cheating on his wife with a nightclub hostess. Days later, many other women came forward, and it was reported that he slept with hundreds of women while married. After many years of being blacklisted from golf, Tiger was able to come out on top once again and won the Masters in 2019. Although his reputation has been tainted once again, after reports surfaced that he got in a terrifying car crash. His car went off the road and fell off a cliff, leaving his car flipped. And finally, at number 1, Kanye West interrupted Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's acceptance speech at the 2009 VMAs is easily one of the most memorable of all time. Kanye West's interruption happened moments after Taylor accepted her award and became the start of a long-running feud that has pitted Taylor and Kanye fans against each other ever since. Kanye felt that Beyonce deserved the award more than Taylor and grabbed the mic from her, saying, quote, "Taylor, I'm really happy for you, I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time," before being booed off the stage. Taylor was later left back on stage to re-say her speech, but the damage was already done. Tons of celebrities came out on social media to defend Taylor against Kanye's actions.
At number 10, Lil Nas X. Last year, Lil Nas X made a lot of headlines. He released a new album, rocked red carpets, but also got himself into quite scandal as well. On March 26, 2021, Lil Nas X released his song Montero, or Call Me By Your Name, and both the song and subsequent music video was hit with a lot of backlash. The song included some adult themes, obviously, but the majority of the backlash for this release came from the rapper's music video. The video had a heaven and hell theme and included Nas dancing for the devil, so to speak. A lot of people didn't like the video because of how raunchy it was and because of the biblical imagery and themes. But as if that wasn't enough backlash, Nas also got into some pretty big trouble when he released a collaborative shoe with Mischief that they called the Satan shoe. These sneakers were a redesign of the Nike Air Max 97s, and because this design wasn't authorized by Nike, Nas and Mischief got in trouble. They also faced backlash for putting, quote, "a single drop of human blood in the sole of the shoe." For a couple of weeks, Nas faced all kinds of backlash, but he didn't let that knock him down. He remained pretty unfazed by the whole thing and bounced back from the scandal with no problem, but for a couple of weeks there, he was definitely Twitter's #1 enemy. At number 9, David Dobrik. YouTuber and former Viner David Dobrik is one of YouTube's biggest creators, but last year he got royally cancelled. Other than being super popular on the platform with over 18 million subscribers, he's found success in Hollywood as well as he's been cast on few TV shows as a host and judge on a few game shows. However, this past year, David's popularity started to fall and his praise turned into scrutiny after people started coming forward with allegations against David. Former members of David's YouTube friend group called the Vlog Squad have come forward calling David out for bullying and creating a toxic environment, as well as orchestrating pranks that resulted in one friend getting hurt. On top of that, a former fan came forward naming a Vlog Squad member as a person who hurt them while they were under the influence, and also called David out for filming part of their alleged incident. Because of David's content, he caused a lot of controversy, emotional pain, and distress, and he's only recently bounced back from the drama that he faced in 2021. Before we carry on talking about some of the biggest scandals from 2021, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Armie Hammer. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this scandal by now, but this one had to be on this list because it was a first one that really blew up in 2021. Back in January of 2021, some of ARMY's private messages with other women came to light, depicting the actor in a not so flattering way. The messages leaked by the Instagram page House of Effie exposed the actor for his bedroom fantasies, amongst other adult things, and this created a huge snowball effect that led to multiple people coming forward with their own allegations. Things took a serious turn, and soon an investigation was launched to look into some of the claims made by some of ARMY's alleged victims. Because of this scandal and its severity, this took a huge toll on ARMY and his career. As we know, no one is quick to forget a scandal like this in Hollywood, so as a result of the drama and allegations against him, ARMY started losing everything that he worked for, including movie roles and representation in the industry. No one knows what the next step is for him, or even if there is a way for him to salvage his career. At number 7, Marilyn Manson. Another really huge scandal that happened last year came from singer Marilyn Manson, and it caused a lot of drama in Hollywood and the music industry. It all started when his ex-partner, actress Evan Rachel Wood, came forward in an Instagram post calling Manson out as someone who had harmed her for a long time. In her statement, Evan cited how manipulative Marilyn was, accusing him of brainwashing her and telling her fans how Manson had caused her mental, physical, and emotional pain. This caused even more people to come forward later on, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who came forward with some of the horrible encounters that she had with Manson. Following this scandal, Manson was dropped from his music label, and the LA County Sheriff's Department began an investigation looking into some of the allegations against the singer. At number 6, DaBaby. Last year, rapper DaBaby caused a big uproar in the LGBTQ+ community. He got into quite the controversy after he said some pretty offensive things while on stage performing at Rolling Loud in Miami. While on stage, the rapper made offensive comments about the gay community as well as HIV and AIDS, calling it a quote, deadly sexually transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks, unquote. He also went on to say some more homophobic things about gay men that also added fuel to the fire. Celebrities like Dua Lipa and Elton John condemned the rapper's comments and tried to take the rapper's cancellation as an opportunity to educate the public on what DaBaby said, how it's wrong, and also put an effort into trying to educate the public specifically on HIV and AIDS to put the stigma spread by DaBaby's comments to rest. Because of the scandal, the rapper was cancelled, faced massive backlash, and lost a lot of support as well. At number 5, Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan had a lot to say about the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview with Oprah that became one of the biggest bombshells of last year. During the interview, secrets were revealed, confessions were given, and it gave a lot of people a lot to discuss. One of the things that was picked apart by a lot of people were Meghan's comments on her mental health before they split from the royal family. Meghan said that she was really depressed and had thoughts of taking her own life. Piers Morgan decided to pick her comments on her mental health apart and said that in his opinion he quote, didn't believe a word that Meghan said. He criticized Meghan's mental health, and a lot of people saw that as going too far. As a result, Piers and the network he worked for faced mass scrutiny for saying such a thing about someone's mental health, as it was seen as diminishing and deflecting the severity of such a thought as taking your own life. Because of the backlash he faced, Piers announced that he would be leaving the network, but that he still doesn't believe Meghan's claim, saying quote, freedom of speech is a hill I am happy to die on, end quote. At number 4, Chris Noth. This next scandal was one of the last ones to occur in 2021. Sex and the City actor Chris Noth has been faced with allegations of inappropriate contact, and he's already started to lose a lot. This scandal is still developing because it's so recent, but so far other former Sex and the City co-stars have come forward to support the alleged victims. As for his career, he's been fired from his role on the CBS show The Equalizer, effective immediately. As he goes into this new year with this scandal, who knows how the year will pan out for him. At number 3, Chris Harrison. With every season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, there's at least one scandal, but last year things were a little different because a pretty serious scandal broke and it led to someone losing their job. The show's longtime host Chris Harrison landed himself into some hot water last year after he started facing backlash for the comments he made about one of the contestants' past. At the beginning of the Bachelor season in early 2021, photos of one of the Bachelor contestants were leaked, which showed her in a few compromising situations, specifically of her attending an antebellum-themed party, and many fans saw this as highly offensive and racist. When the scandal first broke, a conversation was obviously sparked, but when asked about his take on the situation, Chris ended up offending some people as he responded saying that it was in the past. In an interview on Extra with former Bachelor/Bachelorette contestant Rachel Lindsay, when asked about this contestant's controversial photos, Chris was seemingly dismissive of her actions of her being at this party, and he continued to try and defend his stance, saying that he didn't want to make any comments before the contestant in question had spoken at first. Instead of helping the situation, fans of the show saw this as perpetrating racism, and so he was cancelled. As a result of this drama, Chris was let go from the show and hasn't really been seen much in the media since. At number 2, Gina Carano. Actress Gina Carano, known for her role on the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, was exposed and cancelled for her old Twitter posts. Last year, Gina began to face massive backlash for her social media posts that exposed her ideals and opinions that many people took offense to. Though there were a few posts that garnered a lot of negative attention, such as her comments on putting your pronouns in your social media bio, the one that was seemingly the last straw for her career was a post that compared being a Republican to being a victim of the horrors from World War II, saying that Republicans are being persecuted because of their political beliefs. A lot of people took offense to this, and this led to even more backlash and to her getting exposed for her unpopular opinions. Other posts that caused Gina to face scrutiny include her tweets about voter fraud in the US, as well as posts mocking people who wear masks amidst the pandemic. Because of the scandal and all of the negative press Gina was getting, she was promptly fired from The Mandalorian and hasn't been seen much since. And finally, at number 1, Travis Scott. Travis faced a lot of backlash in the last few weeks of 2021 after the tragedy that occurred at his Astroworld concert. The rapper's performance ended in tragedy as the chaos that ensued during the concert left multiple people dead and hundreds injured. 10 people lost their lives due to the events that unfolded, and many others are still recovering from their injuries, as well as the families of those affected still trying to cope with everything that happened with their loved ones. There is a lot of footage circling the internet showing what happened that night and the madness that occurred during the performance, with people showing the crowds of people and some fans yelling "Stop the show." After the incident, we found out that the Houston police chief actually warned Travis about crowd control prior to the event, expressing his concerns for public safety. After people found this out, Travis started facing even more backlash, as fans said that if the rapper really listened to this warning, these casualties could have been avoided. Travis has spoken out several times on the matter, but each time he makes a statement, it seems to make the whole situation worse for him, which certainly is not helping his career or fame.
Starting us off at number 10 is Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy. There has always been a lot of speculation around this affair ever since rumors started circulating that the president had an affair with Marilyn while he was married to Jackie Kennedy. These rumors heightened after her iconic, sultry performance of Happy Birthday to the President. I don't think we can ever forget that one. For many years it was all rumors and no confirmation, but in 2013 a biography came out and confirmed these claims to be true. In the biography titled "In These Few Previous Days, the Final Year of Jack and Jackie," it claimed that Marilyn once called Jackie to tell her that John had promised to marry her. The biography also claimed that he was having an affair with multiple women, but Jackie was most concerned about the one with Marilyn because she knew it would cause a huge and very heavily documented scandal. Now, of course, whether the biography is even true, we will never know. So, I guess we take this one with a grain of salt. Moving on to number 9 is Ashton Kutcher and Sarah Leal. Ashton was married to Demi Moore for 6 years at the time that the scandal had unfolded in front of the entire world. His administrative assistant, Sarah Leal, had come forward and alleged that she had intimate relations with him during an interview with US Weekly. Demi spoke about the affair in her 2019 memoir called Inside Out, where she said she found out about the cheating scandal through a Google alert. When she confronted Ashton about it, she said that he admitted to it right away. The heavily documented scandal was the catalyst for the breakdown of their marriage, with the two of them finalizing their divorce in 2013. Ashton never personally addressed the scandal, except for in 2017 when he admitted that his name was splashed around every gossip magazine for being an adulterer. Swiping our number 8 spot is Hugh Grant and Elizabeth Hurley. It is one thing to get caught in a cheating scandal in Hollywood, and it's another thing when it includes someone getting arrested. In 1995, the actor was arrested in Los Angeles for misdemeanor lewd conduct in a public place with a Hollywood sex worker. He was caught having this affair after he paid her to perform acts on him. We'll leave it at that.
night. The actor ended up pleading no contest and paid a fine. But what made matters worse is that he was married to Elizabeth Hurley at the time, so the whole scandal was flooding the media, including his mugshot. But despite the fact that he cheated, she stayed with him for 5 years in hopes to fix their marriage. However, it didn't work out and they split later down the road for good. And spot number 7, we have Tiger Woods and multiple women. Honestly, there's no nicer way of saying it, and the whole scandal included more than 10 different women. It all started in 2009 when the National Enquirer reported that Woods cheated on his wife with a nightclub owner named Rachel Uchitel. I think that's right. Media outlets reported not long after that his wife had attacked him with a golf club after finding out the news and finding proof in his phone while he was sleeping. After it was made public, more than 12 women came forward and claimed they had relationships and flings with him, sharing text messages and voicemails as proof. He ended up admitting to his infidelity and issued a public apology. Because of the scandal, he actually lost several endorsements and had to take a break from tournaments. He and his wife got divorced in 2010. Cruising into spot number 6 is Jude Law and Daisy Wright. This affair was one of the biggest ones in Hollywood history. 1, because it was so documented, and 2, because it involved someone close to their family. I am talking about the actor and his fiancée at the time, Sienna Miller. Back in 2004, they were engaged and seemed to be a match made in heaven. But it wasn't long before the scandal surfaced in 2006 and revealed that Jude had been cheating on her with their nanny, Daisy. She was actually the one who came forward with the affair and gave out details of their entanglement, which apparently had gone on for some time. Jude did not bother denying it. He ended up coming clean to the affair and released a public apology to Sienna, saying that he deeply regrets it and that he is ashamed of his actions. Sienna broke off the relationship right away, but then they got back together and tried to rekindle things. It actually wasn't until 2011 that they officially called it quits. Halfway through our list, number 5 is Alex Rodriguez and Madonna. Alex was with his ex-wife Cynthia Scurtis at the time that this scandal blew up in his face. There were multiple rumors going around at the time of infidelity on his end, and one of them was allegedly with Madonna. Why this affair was so shocking was because Madonna was also married at the time and she was denying the claims. It was actually Alex's former trainer at the time, Dodd Romero, who talked about the affair. He claimed that Alex got pulled in by the dark side of Madonna's religion at the time and was totally brainwashed. A friend of Cynthia's also spoke out and said that she told her she found a letter from Alex to Madonna, and in it he told her that she was his true soulmate. In interviews though, Alex always said that he and Madonna were just friends, and that is what they have always claimed, so we really don't know. I don't buy it. Moving into spot number 4 is Meg Ryan and Russell Crowe. Meg was in the prime of her career at the time, being the leading lady of romantic comedies, all while being married to Dennis Quaid. They got married in 1991, but then in 2000 she was exposed for having an affair with her co-star at the time, Russell. They were filming Proof of Life together at the time, and they were spending a lot of time together, which apparently led to this affair. She immediately took the heat for the affair, and everyone was heavily criticizing her to a point where it started to affect her career and roles that she was no longer getting. She tried speaking up about it and said that Dennis had actually cheated on her in their relationship in the past, but that it just was not made public. But people didn't care. She was still the only one to get bad press for it. Her and Dennis finalized their divorce not long later in 2001. Russell Crowe didn't get any freaking heat, eh? Cool, sure. Rolling into spot number 3 is Kristen Stewart and Rupert Sanders. This is by far one of the worst scandals to ever get caught on camera. I remember the pictures being everywhere at the time. It was back in 2011 when Kristen was dating her Twilight co-star Robert Pattinson, and everyone thought they were going to be together forever. Or at least we hoped. I hoped. But then out of nowhere, pictures of her making out with another man were all over the internet and the cover of magazines. The man was Rupert Sanders, who was the director of her movie Snow White and the Huntsman, which is where the two of them met. Rupert was also married at the time to the mother of his children, Liberty Ross, so things were very messy. People were also shocked because he was 41 at the time and Kristen was only 22, so the age gap just surprised a lot of people. Robert and Kristen split immediately, but Rupert and his wife continued to try and work it out. Taking over number 2 is Jesse James and multiple women. Once again, the scandal just involved more than one person, so I can't really pick just one. He got married to Sandra Bullock in 2005, but they went their separate ways just 5 years later in 2010, after he was exposed for cheating. Articles called him a serial cheater, as a handful of women came forward with proof that he was cheating throughout his entire marriage. It all started when In Touch magazine revealed intimate details of his affair with model Michelle McGee. From there, 2 other women came forward sharing their details of having romantic entanglements with him during his marriage. One was an exotic dancer and the other was a photographer. Sandra filed for divorce immediately, and Jesse didn't even bother denying the claims. He actually called it a part of life. He told Daily Mail, I quote, "Yeah, I did cheat on my wife. Yeah, I stood up and took accountability for it and apologized. In general, both women and men cheat. It's part of life." Well, it doesn't have to be part of life, but okay. In the number 1 spot is Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. We could never forget this affair, probably because the 2 of them went on to get married and create a family together, even though it came from infidelity. Brad was married to Jennifer Aniston at the time, but that did not stop him from cozying up with another woman. He met Angelina on the set of Mr. and Miss Smith in 2004, which is where the 2 of them got close. A little too close. The affair ended up getting exposed in the public eye, and even though Jen and Brad had split, Brad jumped straight into the relationship with Angelina. Well, because he was already having the relationship. People did not agree with it and even criticized Angelina for bragging about it. During an interview in 2008, she talked with the New York Times saying, "Not a lot of people get to see a movie where their parents fell in love." Well, I hope you also told your kids that their dad was married at the time that you guys fell in love during this movie. I'm very passionate about this one because I love Jennifer Aniston. Rachel Green? Oh, we fell in love on this set, isn't that beautiful? No, because dad was married to another woman, actually. Starting us off at number 10 is Billie Eilish cancelled. She recently became the newest celebrity to get cancelled after an old video of her resurfaced and went viral on TikTok. A video clip was shared on TikTok and showed Billie lip syncing to a song which includes a derogatory term towards Asian people. She mouthed the word in the video and people were not impressed. More videos then began to surface of her speaking in this gibberish voice, which was interpreted as a derogatory mock Asian accent. She was taking the heat online and went silent for a while before finally speaking out. She posted a long post on her Instagram story apologizing and explained that at that time when she mouthed the word, she was only 13 or 14 years old and didn't know that it was a derogatory term. As for the accent, she stood firm on the fact that she's always spoken in these weird, funny voices her whole life and said that she was not mocking the Asian community at all. She continued to apologize though if things were misinterpreted and said that she is still listening and still learning. Up next, number 9, we have Kim Kardashian's commercial fail. At this point, the Kardashians are getting used to being accused for photoshopping their images, but she was honestly caught red-handed during her recent Skims commercial. Her newest ad for her brand Skims, a body shapewear line, showed her lying sideways on the ground and running her fingers across her body. But fans were quick to point out that when her finger dragged along her hip, it went all like distorted and wavy in a way that fingers don't bend. One TikTok video which showed the commercial fail quickly reached over 20 million views with the caption, "Who approved of this editing?" The video flooded with comments of people saying it was so disappointing to see that her body was edited and that this is the message she is sending out to her fans with her body shapewear brand. BuzzFeed reached out to Kim for comment, but she did not want to comment on it. However, the ad was pulled not long after, and a Skims spokesperson told Page 6, immediately after it was noticed by the team, the video was pulled and the glitch-free version was uploaded and ran for the remainder of the time on air. So apparently it was a glitch. I'm not buying it. You can, but I'm not buying it. Sliding into number 8 is the Kristen Stewart cheating scandal. It's hard to forget the time when the actress crushed the hearts of millions of Twilight fans, also along with her boyfriend's heart. It was in 2011 when she got caught on camera cheating on her boyfriend and co-star Robert Pattinson. Paparazzi photos surfaced showing Kristen making out with another man. But the scandal caused a ton of controversy because she was caught kissing Rupert Sanders, who was actually the director of her movie The Snow White and the Huntsman, and he was also married. He was 41 years old at the time and Kristen was only 22, and he was married to Liberty Ross, who was also the mother of their 2 children. The steamy makeout pictures were everywhere, so she could not deny this one. Instead, she issued a public apology, but Robert never forgave her. They split. That was it. I was heartbroken, I remember it very clearly. In spot number 7, we have Kanye West has a new girlfriend. Controversy sparked when photos surfaced online of Kanye with another woman not long after he split from Kim Kardashian. Photos showed Kanye with Irina Shayk having a romantic stroll in France shortly after the news broke that he got a divorce from Kim. Reports say that they stayed together in this very boutique hotel and they were celebrating his 44th birthday. Kanye's 44? Oh my god. I didn't know he was that old, no offense. Rumors claim that the romance began last month with claims that they were secretly dating this whole time. But then just days after these pictures went viral, more photos of Irina surfaced of her with her ex, Bradley Cooper, who is also the father of her child. The 2 of them share a daughter and they have been co-parenting for some time now, but people aren't sure what it means for them, like these pictures. Witnesses who saw them out in public said it looked like they were just enjoying some family time together. So everything is still up in the air, but articles are still referring to Irina as Kanye's girlfriend. So moving on to number 6, we have Christina Aguilera's spray tan. Hers was more of an embarrassing moment than a scandal, but either way, I'm sure she wishes it did not happen to her. The moment was extra embarrassing because it was caught on camera live during a performance that aired. She was singing at the Etta James Memorial Service, and while her vocals were on point, her spray tan wasn't. The cameras captured her spray tan dripping down her legs. At first, people didn't know what it was, and people actually thought it might be blood dripping down her leg, but it was just her self-tanner. She must have got a spray tan too recently, and with the combination of the hot lights, maybe nerves, sweat, I'm not really sure, but her tan started to drip off. Spray tan 101, man. Don't get a spray tan if you know you're gonna be doing that. Halfway through our list at number 5 is Offset getting arrested. He was making a lot of negative headlines in 2020, but none of them compared to this one. The rapper was questioned by police while he was driving through a President Trump rally at the time, but it all happened while he was live streaming on Instagram. The cops confronted him while he was in the car and claimed that witnesses said they saw that he was waving an illegal weapon outside of the car window. When they asked him to get out of the car, he refused to, and then things started to get more serious and they had to remove him from the car. That is when the live stream stopped at that point, and then reports say that he was arrested. Later on, the Beverly Hills Police Department tweeted a statement that clarified Cardi B's cousin, Marcelo Almanzar, was in the passenger seat of Offset's car, and he was the one who was charged for carrying a concealed weapon and carrying a loaded handheld in public. So it wasn't actually Offset committing the crime, but he was still there and very involved in it. Here we are now at number 4, and we have Charlie Sheen's rant. You're probably wondering which one, because he's had so many, but who could ever forget the time he did a webcast series called Sheen's Corner and made a fool out of himself. After he was fired from his long-term CBS show 2.5 Men, he went on live streams and shared all of his thoughts and feelings on the situation, which was not pleasant. It was basically just a long rant where he stood in his kitchen smoking a cigarette and drinking alcohol. He admitted to the camera that he hadn't even had breakfast yet, but that he was polishing off a bottle of liquor instead. The whole stream was very erratic. He was making inappropriate jokes, blurting out random things, and just acting very manic. But in later years, he talked about that and said he had an addiction to alcohol and substances at that time, and his behavior was also a side effect to the steroids that he was taking. So it was more serious than we thought. I just thought he was crazy. He had a serious addiction at the time. In our third spot, we have Amaranth got banned from Twitch. The content creator's real name is Caitlin Siragusa, and she is one of the biggest streamers on the platform. She was banned recently after doing a live stream which they deemed as inappropriate. She told Polygon that the reason behind her ban was sexual content. In the stream that had her banned, she did an ASMR yoga stream where she held various yoga poses and then simulated the sound of having your ear licked using her microphone. She didn't find the ban fair and said that she is not the first person to do an ASMR yoga stream, but her content has pushed the boundaries on more than one occasion. She has also been criticized for doing hot tub ASMR live streams where she does similar things while wearing a bikini. The internet wants her completely canceled into her career, and she said she's considered leaving the Twitch platform after all the hate she is getting. Taking over spot number 2 is Lindsay Lohan's pictures. Back in 2007, she was arrested for a DUI and was sentenced to 90 days in jail for violating the probation terms. She was ordered to go to rehab after that, but no one really knew how serious her addiction was. It wasn't until photos leaked 3 years later in 2010 that the truth came out about her substance addiction. Photos leaked online showing Lindsay taking substances, and fans were shocked to see how dark things were for her. The pictures were allegedly from a Hollywood party in 2007 that Lindsay and her friends attended. A source talked about it and said, "These images with the syringe are terrifying. What no one knows for certain is just how often Lindsay does substances or exactly what she does." The photos that they were referring to was a picture of an unidentified person putting a syringe into Lindsay's lower back. We obviously cannot show these images, but that's what it was. The positive news was she attended a 90-day court-ordered rehab program following her release from prison in August and was said to have sobered up. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie, go Google these pictures. She made out with Paris Hilton in one. She has a syringe and another one that she's putting into her arm. I couldn't believe it. It was so dark and so twisted. I'm happy she's doing better, and I hope she truly is. Earning our number 1 spot is Jeff Wittick's accident. The YouTuber had a horrific eye injury during one of his vlog stunts, but no one really knew what happened until recently. He came forward with the truth during a documentary series called Don't Try This at Home. In the series, he explained what happened during a stunt on an excavator that was being controlled by David Dobrik. The horrific accident was actually captured on camera, and it showed people, including Jeff, telling David not to move the excavator so fast. David was the one in control of the whole thing, and he is the reason the accident happened, no doubt. The images and video are so graphic that they cannot be shown online. Jeff actually charged $20 on his Patreon for people to gain access to the gruesome footage. In his documentary series, doctors actually tell him that he was just inches away from his life being threatened. For this reason, and for how David handled the accident aftermath, people were furious at David and they started canceling him online. It was a big, messy, chaotic drama. It was just a lot of drama. Good news is Jeff has undergone multiple major surgeries on his face and his eye, and right now he is still able to see out of that injured eye. However, that could change for him. Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is the Miley Cyrus kiss. You are probably wondering which one. It was the one that surprised everyone because it was so random and came shortly after the news that she had split from her husband Liam Hemsworth. In the summer of 2019, photos went viral showing Miley on vacation kissing and cuddling with Caitlyn Carter, Brody Jenner's wife. People were very confused, but turns out Caitlyn and Brody had split very recently, and so did Liam and Miley. So the pictures were also a shock not only to fans, but just everyone involved. Their fling only lasted a month, but Caitlyn has since opened up about how hard it was for her. She said, "I went on vacation with a female friend. The next thing I knew, I was in love with her. Until that trip, it had never crossed my mind that I was even capable of loving a woman the way I loved her." She told herself that all her relationships after that one will be kept more private. Even though she and Miley did try to keep it private, the paparazzi got them. I remember they're kissing, they were under a hat trying to kiss, and it was like, busted, ladies. Up next, number 9, we have Hugh Grant getting caught with a lady of the night, if you know what I mean. It was back in 1995 when he was caught on the Sunset Strip having an affair, paying a woman to get intimate with him in his car. He got busted and was arrested for lewd conduct in a public place. The news itself was a huge scandal because he was a huge Hollywood celebrity getting caught in the act, but it was a very sticky situation because he was with his longtime girlfriend at the time, Elizabeth Hurley. So not only did he publicly cheat on her, but it happened with someone that he paid. The two of them still tried to work through it as she chose to forgive him at the time, but things did not work out. In the end, she ended up leaving him 5 years later after this scandalous incident. Sliding into number 8 is the infamous Princess Diana affair. This one could be seen as the biggest affair in all of Hollywood history since it involved people with such royalty. It was back in 1992 when The Sun leaked a transcript of phone calls that were captured between Princess Diana and James Gilby. The secret phone calls revealed the affair she was having on Prince Charles at the time, as the two of them were still married. It was a massive scandal, but got even more controversial when it was revealed that Charles was also having an affair with his now wife, Camilla Parker Bowles. So both members of royalty did not remain loyal in their marriage, and obviously the rest of the world was freaking out about it. In spot number 7, we have Madonna, Christina, and Britney kissing. It has now gone down in history as one of the biggest moments caught on camera, even becoming a viral gif and meme. If this whole thing happened in 2021, it would never be a controversy, but things were a lot different back in 2003 when it happened. It was during the MTV Video Awards when Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, and Madonna performed together and ended up locking lips. Madonna just felt the need to rock the boat a little bit and kiss both of them during the live performance. Because times were so different back then, the camera switched their shots quickly and cut to a shot of Justin Timberlake's very confused reaction. He was dating Britney at the time and looked just as confused as everyone else did. They ended up cutting the kiss shots out and they did not televise it, but the footage and photos were already all over the internet and they live on to this day. What an iconic moment. Next up at number 6, we have Britney Spears getting called a terrible mother. When asking Britney about it, this scandal was just one big misunderstanding, but to the public it was something very serious. In February of 2006, the paparazzi got photos of Britney driving in her car with her infant son on her lap instead of in a car seat in the back. The photos went viral immediately and media outlets began calling her a bad mother, obviously concerned for the safety of her child. But Britney tried to explain what happened and said that she was in a, I quote, horrifying, frightful encounter with the paparazzi. She said it was just a spur-of-the-moment thing that she needed to get out of there as quickly as possible for her safety as well as her son's, and she didn't have time to just stand there and buckle him in the car seat. Her intentions were to just leave the area to get away from the paparazzi and then buckle him in his seat like usual, but of course, this was still a very dangerous decision and situation. Halfway through our list, at number 5, we have Kylie Jenner's pregnancy. Well, Kylie Jenner's secret pregnancy. That is why it was such a controversy. Normally, a woman becoming pregnant is very exciting news, but because she was 20 at the time and keeping it a secret, it was a more scandalous situation. Back in 2018, Kylie seemed to go quiet for a while from the Hollywood limelight, and no one understood why. For months, people were speculating that she was pregnant, but no one could ever get confirmation until the paparazzi finally got pictures of her with her very pregnant belly. The photos leaked online and it caused some outrage because fans just didn't know why she kept it a secret. She ended up apologizing in an Instagram post saying, "I'm sorry for keeping you in the dark through all the assumptions. I understand you're used to me bringing you along on all my journeys. My pregnancy was one I chose not to do in front of the world." She shared her entire pregnancy though in a video called To Our Daughter, which was filled with videos and photos that she took along the way while she was hiding it from the world. It was actually beautiful. I watched it. It was so cute. Cruising into number 4, we have A$AP Rocky's arrest. It was a very dramatic event in 2019 when TMZ released a video showing that the rapper got into a street fight while he was in Sweden. Just days later, he was detained by the Swedish court for a suspected attack. It didn't help that there was video footage linking him to the case, but he maintained the claim that he was acting in self-defense. His detainment made worldwide news and even got the attention of Kim Kardashian and former President Donald Trump, who warned Sweden there would be negative consequences if they did not release him from prison. He ended up being found guilty of the assault but was able to avoid jail time. Instead, he was handed a suspended sentence after the court found that the incident was not of such serious nature to warrant more time behind bars. He did pay the victim $1,300 in damages, and that was it. Rolling into number 3 is the Kanye West and Taylor Swift feud. I don't think anyone will ever forget the most cringe-worthy moment in award show history. The time in 2009 at the MTV Video Music Awards when Kanye West walked up on stage and grabbed the mic from her hand during the middle of her acceptance speech. She was accepting the award for Best Female Video when he took the mic and announced to the room and the entire world that she did not deserve the award and that Beyonce should have won it. He gave a big speech about how Beyonce's video for Single Ladies and how it was the best music video ever created, apparently, which was pretty good, but like, rude. The entire thing was incredibly awkward, and even Beyonce felt horrible about the situation and looked horrified when he did it. But later in the show, when Beyonce won an award, she called Taylor up on stage to let her finish her speech during her speech time. So it was really cute. Taking over our number 2 spot is Mel Gibson's leaked audio. Back in 2012, there was a crazy incident that went down between Mel and screenwriter Joe Esterhaz. Joe and his family were actually staying at Mel's home in Costa Rica when he went off on a crazy rant that left them terrified. What happened was, Mel was supposed to direct a movie called The Maccabees, but Warner Brothers passed on it after reading the script, which apparently Joe had written. Joe claimed that Mel purposely sabotaged the film, which was about a famous 2nd century BC Jewish revolt, and said that he did it for anti-Semitic reasons. The audio from his rant leaked because Joe's son had recorded it on his iPod. In his rant, he was lashing out at Joe for apparently not working hard enough on the script and blaming him for the reasons the movie was not moving forward. You can hear him cursing and throwing things, and Joe says he released the audio on purpose so that everyone could see how Mel is behind closed doors. We already knew that though. His DUI, his other racist rant that he went on. We already know. In our number 1 spot is Kurt Cobain. The most serious and controversial scandal on this list was the passing of the legendary musician and the debate that still remains around it. In 1994, he was found passed away in his home from a self-inflicted shotgun wound to the head. That is what the police report conducted at the time, and photos of the crime scene were leaked online. People immediately started investigating the photos and then speculated on whether or not it was really self-inflicted. Some people pointed the finger at his then wife Courtney Love. Since that day, tons of theories have floated around about who it may have been and what really happened to him. Honestly, if it wasn't for the released photos and the final letter that was found in his home, people probably wouldn't have been as skeptical. The letter was inconsistent and raised a lot of questions, and the position of his body in the photos and then the things around him in the scene just didn't add up, and it still remains a mystery to this day.